Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I love redneck stories. You know, you're in a redneck church. If the choir robes were donated by and embroidered with the logo from Billy Bob's Barbecue. And you know you're in a redneck church if the collection plates are really hubcaps from a 56 Chevy. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Thursday. Woo! End of the week for me. Morning, everybody. There goes the lovely Kate Smith. And God bless America. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Thank you very much. And right now, on it's not too bad out this morning, kind of a cloudy, overcast day, a ray of sunshine comes peeking into the studio. Hello, Gina.
Hello. Good morning.
Do that again.
Hello.
That's one side I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, you probably won't hear very often.
I love that sinister attitude of yours. I've got some breaking news that I want to share with you because it's going to change your opinion on a story that we had yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm going to get into that in just a few minutes, but as always, we've got to take care of the pledge and then also Michael Rogers' weather. So who's going to do the pledge this morning?
You can flip a coin, either me or you.
What's that?
Me or you.
I did flip the coin because I'm going to say goodbye to my wife. She's leaving, and you're going to do it. There you go.
Right,
bye, Deanne.
Right. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And by the way, I've got a story about the pledge that you are going to get so mad you're going to want to rip the cords on the microphone.
I cannot wait.
I'm telling you. Is Michael there?
Well, I've got Michael on pre-record. He's been having some massive cell phone problems, so we can't keep him connected.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, then, right now, without further ado, here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hi, I'm Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Not a bad day. You're going to get set up for a snowstorm that's going to take place tomorrow. And from what I'm gathering, very little accumulation. You're going to top out our high tomorrow, 41. High today, right around 50, right in the low 50s as we get ready. And then it's going to, when the snow passes through the weekend, you'll come back out of it and we'll start right back up where we started with basically sun and clouds. But otherwise, not a bad day today. 50 for the high, snow in the forecast, 41 for the high tomorrow. Be safe. Enjoy the weather. Is the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it, buddy. And right now, let's sell some cattle. Come on in, Merv.
All right. A good set of steer calves there. Here to get all 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5.
That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer right there, Merv May, along with Lance Udy. They're over there at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And sale time today. Listen up now, boys. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, earlier sale time, and you can call for more information at 678-9411. Here's just some of the run that's going to go through the ring today at Burley. Rockland Valley Ranch up at Rockland's bringing in 50 head of good calves. Denny Whitaker over to Malda, 150 head of calves. You betcha these are ripping good. P-Bar S Dairy out at Malda, 58 head of Holstein steers, 32 head of Holstein cows, and they're going to bring in 36 beef cows that will be preg tested. Tom Peck up at Cary. Hello, good family up there. 100 head of heifer calves coming down. Neff Ranch over to Ruby Valley, Nevada. I know those folks. 70 head of calves and 10 cows. Pete Peterson, my old buddy living up at Muldoon. 90 head of red Angus calves. These are really special. Kelly Searle over to Burley. 40 head of Holstein steers and the Bedkeys. Bud, Will, and Brandon, good morning. 35 head of yearlings coming into the sale. And from the Ogden area down in Utah, they're bringing up about 125 head of cows. Going to be good. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. sale time. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and I sell them $1.35. Zeb Mel gets bottom again.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, at $1.35, I'd smile all the way to the bank. Ramsey Heating and Electric, don't forget 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They're open at 7:30 in the morning. Throw the doors open and say, good morning, world. Yes, sirree, and they've got all your furnace filters. And get the good ones. Don't get the cheap ones. Get the good ones at Ramsey's. You bet they got the best. Good quality air filters in boxes, and you can save 10%. Yes, and don't forget, for all your electrical needs, it's Ramsey Heating and Electric. Right there at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this story, Gina, but I quickly want to go back to what we were talking about yesterday about up at Gonzaga University about these two students that one of the students ran and got a handgun to thwart off a 6-time convicted felon from trying to break into their place and cause mayhem. Here's the interesting part of the story that I did a little research on and found out. The place they live in is off campus.
Oh, if it's off campus, then he should be free and clear.
Yeah, but they're not.
Why?
Gonzaga University is saying, no, they don't want their students to have any guns or protection, and they are putting the students on probation, and I think this is absolutely wrong.
I think it's absolutely wrong as well. Gonzaga University, and of course that's where I got my master's degree, Gonzaga University cannot place that kind of restrictions on students who live off campus.
Yeah, since when can you dictate the whereabouts or the happenings of a certain scenario when you're living off campus and not under the auspices of college campus rules, and then to be put on probation? These young men have hired a lawyer.
Good.
And I wish them well, because first and foremost, here's the situation, folks, as we look at any and all of these stories going on around the United States. And Gina knows this to be true because she's sitting right next to the basic ticker tape, if you will, of all the stories that come across the wire. Every single gun story in the United States where people, common, ordinary Christian people are trying to protect themselves, they are now starting to be villainized in every situation.
I honestly think that Gonzaga University should back off of this. They cannot control their students who live off campus, and they cannot force them to adhere to rules that only apply to on-campus dorm living.
Here's the situation. This guy that was trying to break in was a great big guy, 6 times a convicted felon, and he told the guy, the young student that was trying to hold him back from coming in the door, he said, I'm going to come in and I'm going to get you. And the other student yelled upstairs to one of the roommates and said, get the gun. They came down with the gun, and the student chased the guy down the street and he ran away. Now, I'll guarantee you, they did the right thing. I will stand up for these students anytime, anywhere, for protecting themselves and their property. And by gosh, if Gonzaga's going to University is going to try to penalize them with a probation that's going to stay on their record, you know that. I think this is wrong, and Gonzaga needs to hear from people and say, let these kids alone.
Oh, I think I'm going to be writing Gonzaga a letter. I'm an alumni, and so I will be writing them a letter and saying, back off.
All right, and in just a few minutes, if you think your blood pressure's up now, wait a few minutes. It's going to get worse.
You got a call.
Okay, I'll take that call in just a minute. Turkey bowling. What? Turkey bowling over at Valleywide Home and Ranch in Rupert this Saturday. Yep, from 11 to 2, you pick up a frozen turkey and you whip that puppy down the aisle, and whatever you knock over, I guess you can win a whole bunch of prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun. Frozen. They're not going to be frozen for long at that rate. Frozen turkeys, and whip those dudes down the alleyway and win 10% off everything in the store, 20% off on all the clothing and footwear, and bring in 2 cans of food and receive an additional 5% off your purchases. Gobble up the savings. I love that. At Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert this Saturday. Turkey bowling! Good morning, you're on the air, caller.
They hung up.
Why?
I don't know, just there was a loud pitch, beep, 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 beep.
Wait, you gotta have a little patience with me, folks, please.
Oh, come on, so yeah.
All right, here you go. You ready? You really want to get teed off this morning?
Oh, hit me with it.
I was so mad that the right arm of my geezer chair is now at an odd angle. You're
beat
giggling.
Up your chair?
What's that?
You beat up your chair?
I had to. It was the closest thing to hit.
Okay.
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 In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, at the high school in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the school board and the faculty, the principal and the superintendent have stated they do not have time in the curriculum or any day of the week to say the 10-second Pledge of Allegiance.
Excuse me?
You heard me right, babe.
That's usually happening right at the morning bell. Everybody in class stands up in their separate classes. They have megaphones or little speakers in each of the classrooms.
Nope.
You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
They don't have time, Gina. 10 seconds. They don't have time. My goodness. The school day curriculum is just chock full. They do not have 10 seconds to say the Pledge of Allegiance. The school board and some of the administrators said, well, we just don't know how we can fit it into our daily schedule. Why? We're just cram-packed. We can't possibly fit in the pledge.
Do they raise the flag every day?
That I do not know. That I do not know. But I know that when I heard that story, I was so mad. Again, I go back to my lazy boy that is now leaning kind of to the right, more so than it did before, because I could not understand how these absolute twits, these absolute amateurs in education, could disavow our country's greatness with our Pledge of Allegiance and all the people that have died for that pledge. And here's something else. Veterans groups from around that area of Sioux Falls made a very impassioned appeal to the school board, and the school board basically shined them on and said, no, we just don't have time. Not 10 seconds for the pledge.
And that's not what I really wanted to say, but that's below.
No, I'm sure glad you changed it to a meat reference instead of what I thought you were going to do.
Something out in the cow pasture.
Yeah, man, I was scared.
Al's on the phone.
All right, we'll take that call. First, I've got to pay some bills. Caller, stand by. I'll be right with you. I promise. Don't forget our friends at Middlecoff Ford Body Shop. Absolutely the best, and I mean that because I've had some work done there this summer after I had that really bad fire on my pickup. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop, I can't even tell anything. My goodness sakes, they strive to make your vehicle repairs undetectable, and they do. They're really good. Had an accident or a fender bender, they can help you get everything restored just right. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop at 1243 Blue Lakes Boulevard in Twin Falls, 736-2490. You stop in and tell them Zeb sent you. Good morning, Al.
Good morning, Zeb. I seen that thing last night, and that veteran standing there. It only takes 10 seconds. What is wrong with them people?
I have no idea. I can't imagine that the United States of America, is being duped by a bunch of nitwits involved in education. These people, I have no good things to say about them. The superintendent, the principal, the school board, the faculty. 10 seconds, they have not any time for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, I mean, I think our soldiers and our troops and our veterans and everybody associated with the, United States ought to be up in arms about this. And every time there's a case like this goes on, they ought to remove that school board and put people in there that are true Americans, not this half butthole associations.
I'm going to personally write a letter. And I'm going to try, I can't do it tomorrow because I'm not on the air tomorrow, but I'm going to try to see if they have anybody back in their education system that has any courage whatsoever. And I'm going to try to get them on the air this next Monday and find out why they could be that anti-American, that anti-pledge, that anti-everything that stands good for America. But 10 seconds, Al, 10 seconds. They don't have time in their curriculum.
I know it. It just makes me mad, and I hope that around here, if they try that here, I don't think the school boards will last much longer, very long in this nation.
I want to know if there's any teacher, if there's any school board, if there's any school in this area that has that kind of feelings, because I will ridicule them over this program until heck freezes over. I guarantee you.
Right on, man.
All right, Al. Thank you.
See, I was
God
nice
bless
again.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so a public school, right? Public school.
It's a high school, the Sioux Falls, South Dakota High School.
Which is supported by what? Public tax dollars?
Yeah.
Which is supported by who? Probably some military and veterans members, right?
I would imagine.
Okay, so darn it, they can, spend that extra 10 seconds right at the beginning of the morning when they raise the flag, because I tell you what, they better be raising the flag every morning, and they should be saying the pledge every morning as they raise that flag.
Gina,
point blank, that's the way it goes.
Gina, why? Why are we in this country kowtowing and bowing at the throne of political correctness? Personally, and I know people are going to be offended by this, so with that Rocky Mountain goat, those stupid idiots that write all that trash, here, take this down. It's about time to poke somebody in the nose and go back to the American values and beliefs that made this country great. Write that down out there.
I'm flabbergasted. I honestly, because every morning where Kennedy goes to school, the kids raise the flag, they say the Pledge of Allegiance,
Good
they
Lord.
sing a couple songs, and then they're off to the rest of the school day. You can take 10 seconds out of the day.
10 seconds! 10 seconds to say the pledge! I mean, I heard this story, and I did a little follow-up research on it. How in the world can they possibly sit there with straight faces on, and really, what they ought to have is all clown masks on, because they're a bunch of clowns looking for a circus is what they are. And they could not find 10 seconds in the daily routine to do the pledge. What a sorrowful, absolutely indefensible excuse.
I would be sending my child to a different school, period. I would honestly write a formal letter to Sioux Falls. Where is that at? North Dakota?
South Dakota.
South Dakota. I'd be writing a letter to the representatives. I would be writing a letter to all of the school board members, the superintendent, everybody, all right on down, and saying exactly why. I would have it posted in the paper. I would do anything and everything that I can to call attention to this, because 10 seconds out of the day to honor the country that, is supporting your school district?
Absolutely. I'm livid about these kind of things, and I'm not going to let them go away. I'll tell you something else. I got another story that maybe a lot of people are sick of hearing it, but when you really put it down and parse the words and the figures and the percentages, you have to be as mad as I am. And I'm going to get into that in just a second, okay?
Okay, Jerry Voss is going to weigh in on this too.
Okay, I'll get to Jerry in just a second. Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Always call these folks. They're the best. Call 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers with Lennox home comfort systems. Good morning. You're on the air, Jerry.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. That's not enough. They ought to take at least a minute and a half and say the pledge, say a prayer, and read a little bit out of the Bible. Maybe we'd move up from 38th in the nation for our education standards to maybe first again, where we should have always been, and should be right now.
Wait a minute. You didn't mean in the nation. You meant it to say in the world, did you not?
In the world, that's right.
I'm appalled at this kind of an attitude. I'm appalled at the weak-kneed, milquetoast educators that haven't got any spine or backbone. They ought to really go to a doctor and ask a physician what happened to it. And this just tells me that the state of education in this country is sinking at an all-time fast rate. And I cannot wait to get Kyle Olson on the phone next week and talk to him about this situation.
Well, I think there's no reason that we aren't number one. I think the only reason we're not number one is we let the federal government get involved in our education.
And everything else.
They don't do anything well.
And everything else. Jerry, I appreciate your comments as always, and the very best to you, and I will try to give you a call after the program. I want to talk to you about something. If I don't, call me. Thanks, Jerry. God bless.
You bet. You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
All right, sir. Thank you. Gina, I want to go back, and I've got just enough time to open this up, excuse me, and then I'll continue it after the break at the bottom of the hour.
Uh-huh.
But I just want you to sit back in your chair for a minute with your headsets on and just think. Just wait just a second and think. Mm-hmm. How gullible right now is the United States of America and their citizenry? And you're going to sit there, America, and repeatedly have the President of the United States be at different venues, different locations around the country, and he's going to say well over 30 different times that you can keep your insurance, you can keep your doctor, period. And then they took a poll. This is what's going to floor you. They took a poll in the recent days over this debacle with Obamacare, and his lying, 50% of America says he lied. But here's the part that troubles me. 40% of Americans still say Obama didn't know the difference.
Baloney.
This is the President of the United States. He is the Commander-in-Chief. He is the leader of the free world. He is supposed to know about Fast and Furious. He's supposed to know about Benghazi. He's supposed to know about the IRS scandal. He's supposed to know about the First Amendment scandal. He's supposed to know. Don't give me this garbage 40% that are so illiterate you can't figure out what's right and wrong that he didn't know.
Oh, he knew. He knew, and they're blind, and they want to believe.
It's nothing more than protection for our mulatto president that absolutely has been lying since he got in office.
You know, yeah, I think you're right. And we've got, I think Rotten's on the air.
Good morning, Rotten. You're on the phone.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
A minute ago, you said these school board members needed to find a doctor and find out what happened to their backbone. Under Obamacare, how are they going to find a doctor?
You know, I needed a chuckle, and I knew that someone like you would help me provide it for a little bit of levity. Thank you. That's a very good analogy. Thank you, Rotten. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. He's right. Oh, listen, I want to talk more about this in a minute. How can 40% of America be that naive? And basically...
uneducated.
Basically, I'm going to use a very simple terminology.
Okay.
And that dumb and committed to the wrong side of the story. Is Jim on the phone?
Oh. No, I'm dialing.
Evidently, when you went, that means no, right?
That does mean no.
She's dialing for dollars. We're going to talk more about this in a minute, and I'm also going to talk to you about our military vets and how they're being treated coming home. I got a story that it just made me clench my fists again and beat the easy chair, the geezer chair, when I heard this, and I'm going to get into it a little bit later on in this next half hour. We are going to talk a little bit real quick with the owner of Travel Lube Supply, and I want to say this up front, that Jim McCall and Travel Lube Supply have donated the use of a pickup and a flatbed trailer for our December the 19th Zeb's Christmas Corral, and not C-H-O-R-A-L-E, but, you know, the regular corral. That's where we're all going to sing. And we're going to have that on December 19th, and I'm going to tell you more. But let's see if Jim's there. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. I'm glad you cleared that up. I was trying to figure out how to put a fence around that trailer.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be our Christmas Corral. Many of us probably will sing like we should be out in the real thing with the doo-doo on the ground. But tell us quickly what's going on at Travel Lube Supply. I had a guy call me yesterday morning after the program, and he said, "Are you serious? They really make pink bubba ropes?" And I said, all you have to do is call over to Jim McCall, and he will personally demonstrate a pink bubba rope. And I don't know if he called or not, but he wanted to find out for sure if it was for real.
They are for real. They're not entirely pink, just the ends, but it still is pink, and they're a super rope. Bubba ropes are one of the premier tow ropes built in the country. Honestly, they're not going to be the cheapest one you can find, but you won't find a better one.
So in other words, if you get stuck in a hole, you darn sure aren't going to act like a bungee cord. It's going to pull you out.
You bet it is. And we've got these tow ropes that rated from 7,000 pounds to 130,000 pounds.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter what you're trying to get out of the mud. We've got a rope that will work for you.
There you have it, folks. He told you right there that they can pull out Rosie O'Donnell. Anyway, they've got all the grease guns and the grease, and they can clean your air filters, and they got your oils. Hey, how's the tool situation over there?
Hey, we've got some tools here, and we'd sure like to get our stock worked down a little. So give us a call. Got some fuel pumps for your pickup portable tanks. They've been in stock way too long. Give us a call if you need a pump for your portable tanks.
All right. And how's those plowshares? You got still a whole bunch laying all over the floor?
Oh, we've got way too many plowshares out here. Then we've got the Adams Rock shares. They haven't been around for a while. If anybody has an international plow, these are the ones you need for that, especially if you're in some rocky ground.
Okay.
Only $16 a piece, and that includes the bolts.
All right. There you have it. Jim McCall, the man that brought the pink bubble ropes to Idaho. Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West 203 south of Hayburn. And I'll guarantee you, a good old boy, 438-8730. Jim, God bless. See you next week.
Thanks, Ed. We'll see you.
You bet, buddy. Thank you. Really a nice guy, Jim McCall. Have everything in the world to say good about him. It is time, past time. I'm running late. Pacific Steel and Recycling, Ag Minute. They're located at 320 West Main in Burley and 1987 Highland Avenue East in Twin Falls. Here is the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly. Recent USDA estimates showing significantly higher 2013 potato yields have surprised industry leaders. Most agree the report confirms the high quality of the crop and that supply closely matches demand nationally. The report finds Idaho potato farms yielded 421 hundredweight per acre, up from 412 in 2012. Reported yields dropped by 10 hundredweight per acre to 520 in southwestern Idaho, where growers say extreme heat limited production. But the state's cooler production areas more than offset the difference, increasing average yields from 405 hundredweight per acre to 415. Washington state growers had the region's highest yields, increasing by 500 weight to 600 per acre. For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and CapitalPress.com.
Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, and, as I said, other location in Twin, 1987 Highland Avenue East in Twin Falls, and they're having a canned food drive all through this month of November. Please help others. Bring in 2 cans of food and receive 10 cents more per pound and $20 more per ton for the iron and tin. Absolutely. $20 per ton for iron and tin. Hey, that's quite an offer. You better stop into the best in recycling, Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley and 1987 Highland Avenue East in Twin Falls, bringing you the Ag Minute. Real fast, I've got some more turkey Thanksgiving paragraphs in, and if you're not aware of what we're doing, you should be, because I'm giving away, along with some other great people, 4 Thanksgiving turkeys, and we're going to have the first drawing for 2 of the turkeys on November 21st. How do you win them? Easy. Just write a short paragraph, what Thanksgiving means to you. What Thanksgiving means to you. Send them to, and I don't know, I say it so many times, I hope people understand. Zeb at the Ranch. All 4 words. Zeb at the Ranch. Then the @ hotmail.com. Okay, it's real easy. And I'd like to thank Miss Food King, along with Ramsey Heating and Electric, and Valleywide Home and Ranch, and Zeb at the Ranch. We're all putting this together to give you a drawing on 4 turkeys. Excuse me, starting on November 21st. Get those in right away, please. I just absolutely can't understand how 40% of Americans, 40%, 4 in 10 Americans are sitting back saying, well, Obama just didn't know. No, he just got up in front of the cameras over 30 times. Over 30 times. And he just didn't know about that. No, well, evidently it was just a misspeak. Folks, do you understand that every time the president gets up and speaks anywhere, he has a team of handlers, a team that is there, and their duty is to follow every single word. So, if there's a misspeak, and in today's technology and technocracy, it doesn't happen again, and they're going to be just basically coded over all the news, excuse me, they make the corrections so that the next time there is not that particular misspeak. This was not a misspeak. It was a lie, saying to the cameras and all the different people in the audiences, if you like your insurance plan, you can keep it, period. If you like your doctor, you can keep him or her, period. It was a lie. It was a lie. And 40% of the people, I just will say simply, better wise up. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to take a sip of water. I got a little frog in my throat this morning. Hold on. Sip water time. All better. Talking about stories that are going to get people upset. Here's another story that I just caught a little bit of this morning, and I'm going to do some follow-up on it after I get off the air today. Military veteran and his father and his service dog. This military veteran is suffering severely from PTSD. And the dog has given him comfort and given him a moral compass and a feeling about the world that he didn't have without the dog. He needs that service dog. They walk into a pizza parlor back east, and they get thrown out. I don't know how else to say it. They literally got kicked out. Now, initially you might think, well, the pizza parlor owner didn't want the dog, but it goes deeper than that. It almost reeks of the pizza parlor not wanting anybody with the military sitting in there. And it looks like, from the story that I heard briefly this morning, that there is going to be some legal problems for this pizza parlor, and we have not yet heard the end of this story. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
President Obama, he made a mistake when he was saying you can keep your policy or keep your doctor. What he meant to say was, I will keep my policy and my doctor.
Well, first of all, sir, I don't mean to correct you, but I have to. He didn't make a mistake. Obama did not make a mistake. This was an absolute blatant lie. They knew it was a lie in this administration. You can't keep saying something over 30 times at different venues, different speeches, different locales, and not have the handlers and not have people that are working in the administration say, President Obama, you made a mistake when you said this. They knew up front that it wasn't a mistake. It was a perpetration to get people to sign up.
Yeah, they knew, and he knew, and he was just making sure, though, that he keeps his, as well as the Congress and senators and all those. You know, it's terrible that we have a president like we have.
Let me ask you something. Has this affected you yet?
Not yet, but it will next year when I retire.
All right, now let me throw this at you. I have talked to a lot of people. I talk after the program's over. Usually I get on the phone, and I'm on the phone until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe call, 65, 70 different people all around the United States and different think tanks, etc. Some of the stories that I'm learning about Americans that are without insurance to cover their kidney dialysis, cover their chemotherapy, cover anything that they need for monthly or weekly hospital and doctor visits. These people are suffering. I mean, my heart goes out to them. I don't know what they're going to do. And as of January 1st, sir, this situation is going to become catastrophic.
And, they're not going to get, really, the help that they need, because they've got to come up with their deductible and their part of it. Do they have it? It's just going to be an added burden on the rest of us to take care of that.
You know, right there, you hit it. You hit it, and you've got the nail right through the board. We, the other people, are going to have to absorb those costs because of this absolutely ridiculous Obamacare and how it's being panned out to the American public, and how the middle class is going to absorb the costs. You're on, sir. You're right smart on. You've got the whole thing nailed. We're all going to absorb this as a huge tax.
That's right. That's right. And I don't need the birth control. I'm 70 years old, and my wife's 65, so
well,
paying for everybody else's.
I sure hope she doesn't walk into the kitchen tonight and give you a real big, shocking statement. I hope you're all right.
I do, too.
All right, sir.
Thanks.
God bless you. Have a good day. I just don't know. This is so sad. When I heard about that lady back in, New Jersey, 3 children. She's a widow, and having to take chemo, and the insurance is gone. Doesn't know what she's going to do. The tears, the sorrow. Obama lied, and 40% of America still will not nail his hide to the barnyard door. They still support him and say he didn't know. Baloney. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got a caller back on the air here again this morning because Gina and I think a lot alike. We're a generation removed, but I will say this. Her and I, I tell you, and Deanne, we're all joined at the hip here. I want another story that'll make you mad.
Oh, hit me with it.
All right, here you go. Stand up, take the punch. This is so stupid, okay? Members of the Duck Dynasty family, Willie and his brother Jace and some others, were rejected from speaking to a Christian youth organization because now Duck Dynasty and the Robertson family has endorsed some fine dinner wines.
What?
Yeah.
Just because they endorse some wine?
What they're doing is a wine company in California had approached them about having the Duck Dynasty dinner wines, very, very, very nice wines. And so they put their label on it, Duck Dynasty, etc. And these are table wines, and I cannot wait to try them because, quite frankly, excuse me, I don't care who knows it.
A glass of wine right now?
No, yes, I do, and maybe a little extra. There's that water. Hold on. Sorry, audience. It happens to everybody. But because they endorsed through their Duck Dynasty Incorporated some of these very fine table wines, this group said, we can't have you speak, and they canceled and refunded their upfront money.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. They're still Christian. They say the prayer, they read the Bible, right on the show, too. And just because their company endorses something, it shouldn't take them off the table.
Let me just
change their moral foundation.
Well, let me throw this at you there, sweetie pie. What do most churches serve at communion?
Wine.
Oh, really?
Wine for the adults. Well. Even my son Kennedy, he tells me, because he goes to Mass every Wednesday with the school, and he tells me, they drink the wine, but really for the kids, it's apple juice or grape juice.
Have we got that PC in this country? That a family, and I've read the books about the Robertson family, I've talked to people that know the Robertson family. As a matter of fact, you have been the board operator on a couple of occasions when I've had my dear friend Louis Amadei. Remember that from Louisiana?
Yep.
Louis knows the family very well. And he knew Phil Robertson way back when Phil Robertson was an outstanding football player in that area and was higher in being drafted than Terry Bradshaw was. And so this family is a very good Christian family, Duck Dynasty family, the Robertsons. And to say that they're going to be removed and rejected from speaking to a Christian youth group because they endorsed some table wines is absolutely insane.
What's the name of the youth group?
I don't have that with me. I'm sorry. You got to give me a little credit for trying to get all this at 4 o'clock in the morning, babe. Come on.
I'm giving you great credit on this one, and I think that PC is just getting too far.
You can't do anything. You and I are always criticizing. I don't care where I turn around, there's always an email that condemns me for saying God bless. Every single day I'm always getting one of those almost, or a call that people are offended because I say God bless.
Hey, Zeb, check it out.
What's that?
God bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I need it.
You do.
But the ambiguity of criticizing this family, the Robertson family, who come off as so squeaky clean in that real-life series, if you will. And really, they're funny. They've got a lot of interesting things to put forth as the Duck Dynasty. But to say that they've got to be ostracized because they endorsed through their corporation a really fine set of table wines, aren't we getting a little picky? Caller, good morning. You're on the air. You know, why is it?
I don't know.
It just came in.
I'm thinking I am the one having phone problems because that was Jerry Voss, and he keeps on trying to call in, and it's like he says my phone is hanging up on him. So let me get a hold of Jerry Thaxton. We might be having a phone issue here.
Can you imagine having a phone issue? Why, that just seems like out of the norm.
Oh, you think? I mean, in a building full of wires.
Yeah, that the mice might have chewed through and have on occasion.
Okay, here we've got Voss.
All right. Good morning, Jerry. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, some churches use water for their ceremony and others use juice, but Jesus' first miracle was the making of wine, and a very, very good wine.
I am not going to criticize anybody for their church's beliefs. I'm not going to criticize anybody for the denomination and the way they handle communion. But let's face it, we can't be that absolutely ambiguous and condemn a family for having the endorsement of a fine dinner wine and say that they're not capable or responsible enough to talk to a Christian youth organization. I find that apprehensible.
I lost Jerry again.
Oh.
I'm going to have to get a hold of Saxton and we're having some phone issues.
Well, I hope so, because, boy, we got a whole bunch of calls coming up.
No.
Good heavens. Hey, by the way, it's time for a weather update brought to you by Quality's Elect. But just because we think we're having phone trouble, don't leave us hanging. Call 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. I was in there the other night, as a matter of fact, and oh, man, they've got television. They've got TVs upon TVs upon TVs. They've got them all over the place. Sony, Samsung, all of them. And increased factory instant rebates right now, too. They've got all the TVs you're looking for. Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Here now is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hi, I'm Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Not a bad day. You're going to get set up for a snowstorm that's going to take place tomorrow. And from what I'm gathering, very little accumulation. You're going to top out the high tomorrow, 41. High today, right around 50, right in the low 50s as we get ready. And then it's going to, when the snow passes through the weekend, you'll come back out of it and we'll start right back up where we started with basically sun and clouds. But otherwise, not a bad day today. 50 for the high, snow in the forecast, 41 for the high tomorrow. Be safe. Enjoy the weather is the only weather you got.
Thank you very much, Michael. Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, bringing you Michael Rogers' weather. More calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you.
Morning, how are you?
Good.
Hey, I know a young man that's called duck calls with those guys from Arkansas.
I do too. He happens to be your grandson, so why aren't you more proud of him and tell everybody who he is, for Pete's sakes, you old curmudgeon?
When he qualified and went to Arkansas to the World Duck Calling Championships, he got to meet those guys, and he's also they come here and hunt in Idaho on the Snake River for about a week down by Hagerman.
Now, you're talking about the one, the only Jed Euler, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's your grandson. Now be proud, Grandpa. And I know doggone well that everything that Jack just said is true. This young man really is an expert at the duck calls. And yes, members of the Duck Dynasty family have come up here to hunt in Hagerman. But now the gist of the story is, isn't it a little bit more than ridiculous that they would be rejected to speak to this organization because their corporation endorsed a table wine?
I agree, but I think it is my opinion that if you got right down to it, maybe that's the outward appearance, but it's probably the hunting aspect.
You really think it goes that deep, huh?
Yeah.
Why?
I guess, well, because of my experience over the years with non-hunters and the environmental groups.
Now, I had not thought of it that way when I wrote this story up this morning, but boy, you bring up a valid point. We're seeing a society that is against the outdoor activities, be it fishing, right, be it hunting, be it trapping, be it backpacking or anything. That is a very valid point as far as I'm concerned. I hadn't thought about it that way, but if it stands only on the merit of canceling them because of endorsing a table wine, I find that ludicrous.
Well, I do too.
And by the way, tell Jed someday to call in and just do nothing but duck calls, and we'll play like we're Duck Dynasty.
Okay,
I'll run down and get my neighbor Rocky Matthews, so we'll have our own Duck Dynasty right here.
We've been out there behind Rocky's place.
And you know Rocky looks just like Willie, doesn't he?
Right.
All right, they're twins. They were joined at the hip. God bless. Have a good day.
See ya.
Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. I tried calling in there 4 times, and I got cut off. I don't know the reason. But did I get on the air at all?
Yeah, you were on the air. You're on the air now.
Okay, well, I didn't know whether I was or not. I didn't hear it. I won't remake my statement then. And, you know, as far as hunting goes, most churches that I know of have hunters in them and people that hunt, and according to the Bible, we got dominion over the animals.
Well, I know that. You know that. Most of the public that's got some common sense knows that. It's just ridiculous. This politically correct atmosphere is so charged in this country. It's asinine. I can't believe it. Jerry, you were on for the whole call. Nobody cut you off. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay, you have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Calls are welcome, 436. I don't care who you are. I don't care what religion or affiliation you have. Political correctness has really gone way overboard in this country. Way overboard in this country. And it's about time to pull the brake and say, enough. Note of sadness here, because I enjoyed watching this guy play when he was in the NFL. And I thought he was one of the premier receivers in the NFL. Todd Christensen from the Oakland Raiders died, and he was a very young man. I think he was only like 56 or 57, and he had complications. This is what they say. He died from complications during a liver transplant that occurred yesterday. And he died at Intermountain Medical Center near his home in Alpine, Utah. And Todd, of course, was a member of the Raiders team that won Super Bowls in 1981 and 1984. And he played 10 seasons as tight end and was respected as one of the roughest, toughest, best tight ends in football. And that's when the Raiders had their charm. That's when the Raiders had their glory. That's when the Raiders were the most feared football team in the entire NFL. What's that?
Raiders had charm?
I'm going to tell you, they had a charisma that no other football team, I think, has had for a long, long time. You think back about the Raiders, and they had that charisma. They were the bad boys. Yep. And they were the team that when you stepped out on the field, it was the aura of walking onto the field with the Oakland Raiders. The other team, and I even heard other players say this, that when they came out on the field ahead of the Raiders before they were introduced at a home game, they were already waiting on the field, and all of a sudden in the tunnel, here was the black and silver, and they looked over at these guys that looked like they had one eye in the middle of their forehead and could eat raw meat. They were scared of the Raiders before the game even started.
I've known people who are Raiders fans. I've never been a big Raider fan myself. The team that I always, feared, at least if I was a player, and this was back in like the late 80s, it would have been the Bears.
I disagree. There was something about the Raiders, and it still is and has that aura, but not like any other team. I know for a fact that some of the guys that I went to high school with that went into the pros, and some of the guys that I knew that I went to college with and went into the pros, there was just something about the Raiders. There was something about them that when you got on the field, whether it was above board or whether it was below the belt, the Raiders were going to do anything and everything they could to beat you up and beat you, period. And they had that certain aura or personality that a lot of people were scared of.
And here's just a little tidbit of information you might not know. A poll was out in September of this year. NFL's most unstable fan bases. And you know which one was at the top?
Unstable fan bases? You mean like guys that are almost schizo?
Like fans that are like over the top crazy for their NFL team.
I would say the Raiders got to be one of them.
Raiders was at the top.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was the Pittsburgh Steelers and then the New England.
Some of the way the Raiders fans dress up, it takes like 4 days to get that makeup on and that silver paint and those spiked hairdos with the little hatchets hung from their hair. Have you seen that guy?
I've seen the pictures, and the most. And the NFL team that has the most stable fan base, can you guess that one?
I know which one it is. Green Bay Packers.
No, actually, Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I think I'm right there.
Are you right there? Actually, and we've got either it's Mr. or Mrs. Rotten on the phone.
I tell you what, though, I got to do my commercial for Les Schwab. I'm running late, so stand by. Wait a minute, everybody! Don't forget for winter traction. You heard Michael say we might get some snow tomorrow. Well, you'd better be ready to go on through the ice, the snow, and all the muck with winter traction tires, all the studded tires, everything you need from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The very best, right there at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All of them, all 7. They've got all the tires. They've got all the best in brake service. They've got all the best in tire chains and batteries and front end alignments and shocks and struts. The best in service. They really care. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I'm sorry, I've got to get to the news from ABC. I will be back a little later. You, of course, can call then. Have a good day. I'll be back in 6. Morning. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue, also in Burley. Before we go to our guest, I want to mention to you that, when there's the passing of a loved one, it's a tough time. It is a very tough time and a very short time to try to do everything that's necessary. That's why I highly suggest you get a hold of our friends at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, the owner-manager, and his staff. Number to call, 436-5636. 436-5636. The staff is always upholding the highest of ethical standards with unquestioned integrity, and they will meet and exceed all your expectations in service to you. So please give them a call today. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, serving you. Well, look who's standing. Well, actually, she's not standing. My VistaPhone shows that she's sitting at her desk with her left elbow up on the desk and her right hand holding the phone. Good morning, Kay Cameron, Director of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning. That was pretty close. My left elbow is on my chair.
I see.
But it's a beautiful day. Isn't it gorgeous outside? It's a little chilly, but what a beautiful fall we've had.
Absolutely. And you, as the Chamber Director, have so many things to tell us about this morning.
I do have a lot to tell you about. I know I've been absent for a couple weeks on the air. I've had some fill-ins, but I've been very busy. We have our annual Farmer Business Appreciation Banquet this evening. We're very excited. We've got a lot of last-minute things to do, our preparation, but we're so thrilled to be able to honor Steve Westfall and Paul and Kathy Duncan. And I'll tell you what, these folks have given so much to our community throughout the years with all of the service and their volunteering and the many things that they have done. That it's a real honor to be able to recognize them and thank them for the service to our community.
Well, when and where is it going to be?
It is at the Best Western Burley Inn. It starts with social hour at 6 o'clock this evening, and dinner will start at 7. So if people are interested in joining us to recognize them, give us a call sometime this morning so that we can make sure that we have enough seats available. Our number is 679-4793.
You know what? I'm going to surprise you because my lovely bride and I are going to be there.
I know that.
How did you know that?
I know everything.
Well, at least you're not proud, and you're not, you're not going to brag or anything.
I did know that you were coming.
Holy smokes, I can't turn around and the whole doggone public knows. Well, I know Zeb's going to be there, sure, okay. Well, what else have you got going on?
Well, I've got 2 tickets to give away. Saturday night, the Harlem Ambassadors are playing in Twin Falls. This is a program that is being brought to the region with many of our Kiwanis clubs, and the Rupert Kiwanis Club is helping to bring them to town. You know, the Kiwanis, they always are involved in projects for the youth, and this is a fundraiser for them. So we have 2 tickets to give away to the Harlem Ambassadors on Saturday night.
Should we do it right now?
Sure.
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do it right now. And we'll kind of revert this a little bit and change the name, but who was the most famous Harlem Globetrotter of all time? Funny man. Who was the most famous Harlem Globetrotter of all time? First person to call 436-2244 or 866-927-4587 with the right answer will get the tickets, okay?
That's great.
Okay, now, while you're still talking, again, who was the most famous Harlem Globetrotter of all time? He was a basketball clown and did a great job. So give me a call real quick, and I'll give you the tickets. Let's get somebody calling. Go ahead, Kay. What else have you got?
Well, there's just a lot of things going on. Tonight kicks off with Clue out to the Oakley, the Howells Opera House out to Oakley. Tickets are $10. They always do great productions out there. So that show starts tonight, and it runs for about a week and a half. So there's several opportunities to go out to Oakley and see their production out there.
Right.
So get out there and support them.
We have a caller with an answer. Let's see if you've got the tickets to give away. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes. Was it Meadowlark Lemon?
What's your name?
My name is Nick.
Nick what?
Nick Waldemar.
Nick, I want you to head on over to the Chamber of Commerce because you just won those tickets. It is Meadowlark Lemon. Congratulations. I think that's worth a hallelujah. Gina, are you right there?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
There you go, Nick. Get over there and get your tickets, all right?
All right, awesome. Thank you.
All right, there you go, Kay. Just asking.
That was fun. So, yeah, we'll look forward to seeing Nick in our office today and giving him a couple of tickets to the Harlem Ambassador Saturday night. If any of the listeners want to go, we do have tickets here for sale, or contact one of the Rupert Kiwanis members, Joe Rogers. I know he has some tickets, as well as over to the Snake River Bowl. Wally Studer has tickets as well, so give them a call. But lots of things going on in our community. Saturday night is also the St. Nicholas Catholic School, their Catholic school, their auction and fundraiser, their gala night. So get out there and support the St. Nicholas Catholic School. They have a really good program over there. So.
Absolutely. By the way, I have to pay a lot of money for that choir to be on standby, so I think one more time for St. Nicholas. Go ahead, one more time with the hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
There you go. Thank you.
I love the background music. It's great. And then just the last thing I want to quickly put in a little mention for is Project Rudolph. You know, it's a year-round project that they're doing, but, man, this time of year they're really going full swing, and I'm sure you guys have had people on the air talking about that and all the great things that they do. But we do have a Dropbox location here if people have things that they want to contribute to the Project Rudolph, the letters, the homemade Christmas ornaments, and then next week is when they're putting the bags together.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It's a great thing that they do for the servicemen and women, you know, and they go all over with those those great packages that they give to the service members. So.
Absolutely. Well, the lovely Kay Cameron is now at this time going to share with us the many ways, like 37, how you can get a hold of the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, come by and see us. We are located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn on the beautiful Snake River overlooking the beautiful mountains, too. It's a beautiful day. Give us a call at 208-679-4793. Find us at minicajachamber.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, just like Minnie Pearl, we're going to come by tonight and say howdy, so we'll see you tonight.
Sounds great.
All right, Kay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Chamber of Commerce, Kay Cameron, nice people. Caller, I'll take your call in just a minute. Please bear with me. I want to remind everybody about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Yes, life insurance, got to have it. Health insurance, better check right now. Retirement planning, employee benefits, they take care of all of it. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Dean Cameron, Todd Siemens, always dedicated and responsive to your needs. Call them at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Nice people. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Hey, last week my wife went to a wedding in Southern California, and I was a little bit concerned that the weather might change or what have you. And I took my car over to Les Schwab, and I asked him to do a safety check, the tires and the hoses and belts and she's got a really good car, but I wanted just to make sure. And I took it in. They did a complete safety check. The only thing I needed was windshield wipers. And I just want to thank Les Schwab because they do a really good job.
Well, now that is extremely nice, and I know that they have been my major sponsor for years, all 7 locations, and Carl, that means a lot that you would call and give a personal testimonial like that, and I will certainly relay that information to them if they didn't hear it on the air. God bless you for your nicety this morning. That's very kind.
Well, they do such a, everybody who cares that is traveling alone, you want to just go in and have them check everything over and make sure that nothing's going to have. You don't want a belt or a hose or something to blow out.
Yep.
You just want to have that good feeling of safety when you're going down a road at 80 miles an hour.
Holy cow, you did a great job. Well, you ought to consider going in the radio business.
Thanks. Tried that. Didn't work.
God bless you, Carl. Thank you so much. That was very nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's nice. When my sponsors are paid tribute by customers in a testimonial like that, that is really, really nice. I appreciate that. Got some things coming up. I want to take a few minutes and talk about some of the public service announcements. And I understand that the Snake River Flats Chorus is basically going out of existence. And they said they're going to close their doors after serving the area for 45 years in song. And they're going to be holding a free will donation show on Saturday, November 16th, this weekend at the Wilson Theater in Rupert. And the show will help the Wilson Theater with renovation projects. And they're also going to have the Variations and the Twin Falls Magic Chords that are going to perform there at the great big concert. It doesn't say what time it's going to start. I'm assuming it's in the evening. I'm assuming it's probably going to be there 7 o'clock. A voice from the blue. Thank you very much. I didn't have that on this notice that they sent me. So anyway, 7 o'clock at the Wilson Theater. Also, I have a notice from Chris Fox over at our sister station, Cat Country, that Cat Country, along with Keith's Cars and Trucks, are having a canned food and turkey drive tomorrow, the 15th, and you can buy turkeys and canned food items and drop them off at Keith's all day long on Friday. And the turkeys can be purchased at Stokes and Swenson's via the phone or in person or with a debit or credit card, and they will hold your turkey. I mean, they won't physically just stand there at the door holding your turkey, but they will hold your turkey. And they're going to be dividing the food gathered between the senior citizens in Cassia and Minidoka counties, and with the Helping Hands Mission and the Oasis Outreach. So thank you, Chris Fox, for sending that over. And last but not least, there's going to be a big Wrangler team roping at CSI, and it's a benefit this year for Kirk Webb, who was injured severely in an accident around, I think it was August or September. And Kirk Webb benefit roping November 15 and 16, tomorrow and Saturday at the CSI Expo Center. And the roping is going to start on Friday night. Enter at 4, rope at 5. Saturday morning, enter at 7:30, rope at 9. And they've got the various numbered ropings. And that's for, of course, Kirk Webb benefit roping this weekend at CSI. There's just a few things that you need to know to go and be a part of in our public service calendar. And then also, I would like to remind everybody that we're going to have some drawings for some Thanksgiving turkeys right here on Zeb at the Ranch. All you have to do to possibly win in the drawing is send me a short paragraph about what Thanksgiving means to you. That's right. All you have to do is just send that to me. We've got quite a few in, but I want a bunch more. And send them to my email address, Zeb, Z-E-B, @ the ranch, THERANCH, and then @hotmail.com. Zeb at the ranch at hotmail.com. And I'd like to thank Smith's Food King, Ramsey Heating and Electric, Valley Wide Home and Ranch, along with Zeb at the Ranch, and we're putting this all together for a drawing on 4 Thanksgiving turkeys starting on November 21st. So get those to me right away. All right, let me take care of some other business here real quick, and I want to remind everybody about our friends over at Let's Ride. Are they ready to have some fun? Get out in the snow. They've got the snow machines, brand new snowmobiles. The 2014 models are there on the showroom floor. And then they've got all the 2014 ATVs there on the showroom floor. And they've got a huge accessory department and a great parts and service department. I'm telling you, if you got something that needs to be fixed, they can get her done. Let's Ride, Highway 24, between Rupert and Burley, open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 9 to 6. You stop in where the fun is sold. Absolutely. Who let those dogs running all over the country, for Pete's sakes? Look at these dogs. Where are they?
Why, but hey, where's Mort? I'm going to have to give him a call.
You mean he didn't call?
He's not here.
You mean to tell me what he told me earlier in the week is that possibly he would let you know that he wasn't going to be there and you were going to do it?
Apparently so. So we are just going to give him a live little call.
A call on the air?
Yes.
My goodness, I hope his verbiage is acceptable.
Well, he better be listening.
Let's see what he says.
Okay.
Good. One ring.
One ring.
Okay, 2 rings. This doesn't bode well. Now we're going to the 3rd ring. This is starting to be nervous time.
Are you sweating?
It's wearing off. Deodorant time. 4th ring. And now we put out an APB. Where is Officer Mort?
I have no idea where Officer Mort is.
You have reached Officer Mort.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me hop on to the Facebook, and I will just feature a dog. Now,
No, wait a minute. We got to do this right. We got to do this right. We've got to have Who Let the Dogs Loose first. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let her go.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Gina did. Let those Dobermans all over my lawn. My goodness, look at that mess. All right, now go ahead.
Okay, I'm logging on to the Minicaja Joint Powers Animal Shelter Facebook page, and I am going to be pulling up their adoptable dog photos. So anybody can do this. If you have Facebook, make sure that you like them on your Facebook page, and then you can go to their photos. And my computer is being awfully dang slow. And
don't you just love live radio when you're in a hurry and then you punch a button on the computer and it says a little message in the middle of the screen? Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, you are out of luck. Let's see here. Okay, so we're going to go to the adoptable dogs.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. And I think that we should be featuring, let's see here, last week we featured Arrow. And this week, we are going to be featuring Arrow's little brother.
He's got a brother?
He's got a little sibling. And the Arrow was black and white.
Yeah.
And his sibling is named Ford. And he's a pit bull cross.
Ford, like in four-wheel Ford?
As in found on the road, dead Ford.
Oh, that was a really quaint statement to say.
First on race day, there we go. Because, well, I'm not a Ford person.
I see.
But, okay, so he's a little male. He's approximately 1 to 2 years of age. He's very friendly, very easy to handle.
I see.
And he's got lots of energy. So if you want to adopt this little guy, make sure that you have some kids so they can play with him.
How big is he?
He looks like to be right around 35 pounds. So he's going to be a mid-sized dog.
Oh, he's a little bitty squirt right there, about the size of Ruby.
Yeah, and shows no aggression towards people or other dogs. They're saying no cats. And he's been fully vetted, and he's got...
Oh, wait a minute. Now, this means he's a good dog.
This means that he's a good
He doesn't like cats. He's a good dog.
That's right. And so he is a little pit bull, very beautiful, brown and white.
He eats cats. He's a good dog.
Yes. And so if you would like to check out Ford or his brother Arrow or any one of the other adoptable furry little friends that they have over at the Minidoka Joint Animal Control Shelter, you can always stop by at 600 West 75 South and give him a call at 438-2200, or you can call Officer Mort when he picks up his phone.
Yeah, Mort, pick up your phone.
At 670-7268, and I do know that they are in need of dog food. So if anybody would like to donate,
they're sick of feeding the doggone dogs cats.
Exactly. And,
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
And then they are also looking for bedding, old used blankets that you're just going to throw out or whatever. They could really use those for the Minidoka Joint Powers Animal Control Shelter in Paul.
Holy cow! Now we know who let the dogs out, don't we?
Mort. He's probably still trying to wrangle them up.
Oh, man. We're going to give him the what for.
I am going to give him the what for when I see him.
Holy cow. I mean, here we are, live radio, streaming all over the universe, and we can't find our dog catcher.
That's okay.
What kind of a program is it that can't find their dog catcher?
Maybe he's out on a call right now. We don't know.
Well, yeah, but you ought to leave a message. You ought to leave a really snide message, like you got 73 Dobermans on your front lawn and you want them taken care of right away. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to be giving him a call and giving him the what fors on who let the dogs out.
There you go. All right. I got to pay some bills. By the way, as everybody knows, we have changed locations for Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and oh my, we hit it out of the park with our friends at Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley, where they believe in being best buds with your taste buds. Our next Zeb's Lunch Bunch will be, now write this on the calendar in great big holiday colors of green and red, will be on December 5th. Do not forget that. We're celebrating a combined Thanksgiving and Christmas together. We'll have the halls all decked, and we'll have trees, and we'll have Santa Claus and everything else, and little elves to deliver the packages. Well, I'm not so sure about the elves. I got to fly them in. It might be too expensive. But anyway, Perkins Restaurant and Bakery at 800 North Overland in Burley. And, I want to talk about the bakery just for a minute. With those raspberry and cream mammoth muffins. Have you had one of those? Wow. They're delicious. Okay? Stop over to Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley, the new home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Absolutely delicious. Let me take a look here, see what else I've got to talk about. Gina, that kind of messed me up. I was looking forward to talking to Mort this morning. I ran out of things to say for a few minutes.
Yeah, usually I talk to, we usually have a nice little chit-chat session, and he's not here.
Hey, we could take just a moment, and I want to amplify the fact that starting next week, I'm going to work on it over the weekend. I'm going to diligently stay at my desk and get everything penned out on paper as to how we're going to handle December 19th with our Zeb at the Ranch Corral, our Christmas mobile singing.
No.
What's that drum roll in the background?
That was a drum roll.
Oh, wait a minute, a little louder. I got to hear this.
Okay.
A little louder. Now combine the drum roll with a couple of hallelujahs. Oh, the class of it all. The class of it all. Gina and Deanne and myself and Keith Ramsey and hundreds others, hopefully, are going to be there singing Christmas carols all over the neighborhood. Why, we might pull up in front of your house and serenade you. No throwing tomatoes. And anyway, yeah, hallelujah. That's worth another hallelujah. And it's going to be all about Christmas songs. What's your favorite Christmas song to sing?
My son and I were rocking out to Jingle Bells the other night.
You and your boy?
Oh, yeah.
He likes Christmas songs, huh?
Oh, yeah, he loves
Well, bring old Kennedy along that night.
Well, I planned on it because he's a really good singer of Jingle Bells.
Okay. And then we'll feature him and Keith Ramsey. He's going to be our conductor from Ramsey Heating and Electric, and we're going to have everybody meet over at Ramsey's later in the afternoon around 5 o'clock or so, and then we're going to jump aboard the flatbed, and we are going to croon tunes.
And drink hot chocolate, too. We've got to have hot chocolate. I'll bring a thermos of hot chocolate.
Well, we're going to make arrangements for all this. You got to give me a chance here, babe, because I've been working so hard on everything else. I got to get my hot chocolate, and I want to try to get some cookies for everybody. Yes. And we're just going to have where we all wear our Snuggies, and we sit on straw, and we wrap up in blankies, and we go tootling around the neighborhood and sing Christmas carols and really have the Christmas spirit.
I think this is going to be a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to it.
I am too, and we'll tell you more next week.
Okay.
Okay. I know it's a few minutes early, and maybe if she's listening like she should be, Rita Ramsey, if you'd like to bail me out because Ken Mort left the scene of the accident, call. Rita Ramsey, you're on if you'd give us a call. Thank you very much. Let's see, what else have I got to tell you about real quick? I can't tell you that right now. I will. I'm going to do the weather forecast real quick while we're waiting. And the weather this hour is brought to you by Magic Valley Chalet and Upper Crust, 1367th Street in Hayburn. And, they got Christmas baskets. You know, those gift baskets starting at just $15.95. And they can also customize those baskets for you. And they deliver in the Rupert Burley area for only $5. And then they can also ship anywhere in the country. All the cheeses, all the goodies in those baskets. Wow! These are great. Magic Valley Chalet and Upper Crust, 1367th Street in Hayburn. They are bringing you now Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, I'm Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Not a bad day. You're going to get set up for a snowstorm that's going to take place tomorrow. And from what I'm gathering, very little accumulation. You're going to top out our high tomorrow, 41. High today, right around 50, right in the low 50s as we get ready. And then it's going to, when the snow passes through the weekend, you'll come back out of it and we'll start right back up where we started with basically sun and clouds. But otherwise, not a bad day today. 50 for the high, snow in the forecast, 41 for the high tomorrow. Be safe, enjoy the weather. Is the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to everybody by Magic Valley Chalet and Upper Crust in Hayburn. Great place. Good morning, Rita.
Good morning. I bet you thought I was going to be the next one on the list that had fallen away from
You know, if you would have not called in, I would have absolutely been entirely distraught and probably would have tried to jump out of a basement window.
Well, I literally had to run away from a customer. He's still standing out there thinking, where did she go?
Well, yeah, but maybe he'll spend more money that way.
Oh, it's a crazy day.
Hey, I got to ask you this question right up front. We're going to get right to the nitty-gritty, right to the nuts and bolts of the problem. Are you ready?
You bet.
All right. Why, my dear lady, sitting over at her desk, is there such a rift between the Tea Party and the Republican Party?
Well, the main thing is that I guess I should liken it like a parent to a child. When your child comes in and says, Mom and Dad, do you understand why these bill collectors keep calling and bugging you? Don't you think that we should sit down and do a family budget and see what's going on? I mean, does it take your teenage kid to tell you as an adult that? This is what's happened. These guys think that they're the parents and they can just be in charge of anything, and they're not really conservatives because they don't go by conservative values. They just have a R after their name, which leads them to they're moderates, but they are really progressives, a lot of them. And so they're not interested in being fiscally responsible or some teenage kid coming to them and saying, hey, we're going off a cliff here, we better start redoing a few of the budget things. And that's what they think the Tea Party has done, is had no business telling them that they're spending too much money and they're not going by the Constitution, and they're being called out on the carpet, and they don't like it.
All right, now you've laid it out there for everybody to witness the mayhem and all the activity. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, and I'm going to go a step further. I look at the John McCains. I look at the Lindsey Grahams. I look at some of the others that are supposedly the figureheads of the Republican Party, and I tell them, and I will tell them to their face if I had the opportunity, or on the air if they're on the show. It's about time you got your head out of your sandbox and realize that these spats with the Tea Party are doing nothing but aiding and abetting the liberalness in this country, and especially Obama, and we better pull together, because right now is a time in history that might never happen again, to where the Republican Party, if they join forces with the Tea Party and put a Band-Aid on their wounds, they can take over, because the Democrats are going down the drain.
Well, that's absolutely right. And the part that really bothers me about it is, if they're so darn smart, why do they not say, you know, it was these crazy Tea Party people who helped us get control of the House and really closer to the control in the Senate. Maybe we ought to see if we can pull them into the tent and come to an agreement. But the thing of it is, they want to just discredit and discount anything that the Tea Party people who say, or advocates of the Tea Party, because they're being called out on their own bad decisions.
I agree. We have a caller with a question, and maybe they're going to chide us a little bit. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I personally think, I want you guys' opinion on this, but I think we need to get back to grassroots. We need to get with our state legislature and stuff like that and separate ourselves as much as possible right now because the federal government screwed up, and there's no doubt about it. We've got to get our state legislature to pass some laws and stuff like that separate us from the federal government as much as possible, so when everything comes to a head, we're not stuck carrying everything.
Yeah, but Kiltman, wait a minute. Let me interject something to you. You know, it's great to say that we want to get away from them as far as possible, but they still are the controlling interest and the controlling factor of the 50 states of the great United States. And my point of contention is the Republican Party is acting like a bunch of juveniles that absolutely don't know Khmer from Sikkim. And we've got a chance to sit down, work out the differences behind closed doors, not in front of the cameras, and unify the party with the Tea Party, and the strength would be enormous.
Well, I agree. But I think we need to get back, through the Constitution and stuff like that, the state can pass some laws that can separate us from the federal government to a point. Okay, there's a lot of stuff in the Constitution that the federal government's doing that they can't be doing, that we have the right to separate ourselves to take control over a lot of the things within our state that the federal government can't do a thing about.
I agree. Let's have Rita respond. Stay on the line for a minute. Go ahead, Rita.
Well, he's absolutely right, and this is the thing, is that the states have to realize that they are the ones with the power. The federal government is only supposed to take over and do stuff that the states themselves can't do, and they have overreached, and the states have just let them. And it makes you wonder if the legislators really do know that they're the ones with the power for their state, and if they would use that power and remove themselves away from the federal government, because that's what it's all about.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, I can't remember which state it was, like Kentucky or Virginia or something like that, passed a law concerning the Second Amendment that the federal government has no rights whatsoever within the state boundaries over gun control. And that's, stuff like that we can do here locally. With the state lands and other things that we can do here that would tie their hands, and there's not a dang thing they can do about it.
Let me throw this out for both of you and the audience. I'm just going to be very blunt about this, and if I offend some of the hierarchy of the Idaho political party and Republican Party, so be it. When I look at the Mitch McConnells, and I look at the Peter Kings from New York, and I look at the John McCains and the Lindsey Grahams, I see jealousy. And I'm going to tell you why I see this jealousy. When Ted Cruz got up and put his career, his political career, on the line with the filibuster that he had, there was jealousy. It wasn't a hatred for what he did. It was a jealousy because he was getting all the airtime. And I look at these stalwarts like McConnell and all these old-timers that I think should be put out to pasture. It's nothing more than jealousy. Would you agree or disagree, both of you?
I agree. I know that's exactly what happened.
Well, my thought is I think they're cowards, okay? They're in there for the long term. They want to stay in there as long as possible, do whatever they can to stay in there, do whatever they want to do, and they give us lip service, okay? And they're jealous because they're cowards, and they won't stand up for what they need to be doing.
I agree.
That's what they were hired for.
Well, I think both of you will agree with me again that many people that have been in there as long as McConnell and McCain and others, they're in their comfort zone, and all of a sudden it's uncomfortable.
Well, let's make it more uncomfortable.
I agree. I totally agree.
That's what I'm saying. We need to get back to. We need to get these states, and I don't see why Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, stuff like that don't get together, band together, do these things, and then they're going to have a strong voice that is going to force the federal government to do what they're supposed to do.
I agree. But I will throw this out to both of you again, Kiltman and Rita. And this goes to Rita first and foremost. Rita, don't get mad at me because I'm just being honest. I think one of the problems with the Tea Party, whether it's the Tea Party in Utah, whether it's the Tea Party in California or Arkansas or Massachusetts, doesn't make any difference. They need to have a more profound leadership and figurehead so that they can be addressed, I think, from the top down instead of a helter-skelter situation.
Well, I do disagree in certain circumstances, and the reason is because if you have one head or one big group that's the big group over everybody, guess what's going to happen? They're going to end up getting hit from all angles from the federal government because there are individual Tea Parties all across this nation. There isn't any one that they can attack or get rid of. It's just like you've got all those ants, so which ones do you step on?
Well, then, would you say then, I'll make a little amendment here, that perhaps we better be more confined with more state leadership with a figurehead, and whether it's Utah, again, or Arkansas, or whatever state. But you can't have a helter-skelter type regime because it doesn't look good to the press and they don't honor it and treat it with respect.
Well, what it all boils down to is I think you have to have it locally, and this is going back clear back to the founders saying that all the local stuff is where it needs to start. Everything has got to be local because when you start banding together, all you get is one big group and somebody can attack them and take them down. If you have the small ones, then you have the people in that community that believe the same and they can all get on board. And we all have same ideas. We might not have the exact same, like we don't have the leadership from Boise coming to our meetings every week.
Yeah, but
that would be impossible.
Yeah, but Rita, if you're going to have a compilation of do's and don'ts and facts and figures that you could merge with the Republican Party and show some strength, you've got to have somebody that's going to act in leadership capacities to sit down with the McConnells and the McCains and get this done. This constant bickering and fragmentation is not doing America any doggone good.
Well, the other thing is, in my mind, we've got to have the local, okay? What we do in Minnecasia is going to be different from Boise. What happens in Boise is going to be different from Caldwell or whatever else. But there's got to be some unification within the state itself, and then there's got to be a little bit of unification. I'm not saying all of it, but a little bit of unification between the states, each individual state, that can band together. I mean, they've got to be talking, they've got to be working together to make this thing work.
I agree, Kiltman. Thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it. Thank you. Rita, the thing I'm saying is I'm an advocate of everything the Tea Party is trying to do. I love and respect these people for the advocacy of the Constitution and the pushing to get back to American values and everything. But don't you agree with me, though, that the fragmentation right now and then going up against the figureheads of the Republican Party like Lindsey Graham and the others, we got to do something to combine them because this fragmentation is hurting both sides and the Democrats and the liberals are sitting over there grinning like Cheshire cats.
Well, I agree to the point that, we all have the same values, but I still think that we have more power where there isn't one big person that they can just take down. They thought they could take down Ted Cruz because he was, standing up and standing up against the health care and the various different things. And if they can take down one person, then they don't have to worry about anybody else.
But what good is it doing?
Splinter groups all over everywhere. They're not going to be able to do that.
But what good is it doing to destroy, denigrate, and absolutely try to crucify someone like Ted Cruz that a lot of people are following Ted? I am following Ted Cruz. I like Ted Cruz. And yet the stable, very conservative Republican Party, like McCain and others, they'll back somebody like Chris Christie. Not me. I don't like Christie. I think he's nothing more than a liberal moderate under the Republican banner. I think that we've got to get some power, and you've got to merge the Tea Party and the Republican Party.
Well, I don't know why people don't understand that we do meet together. We had a big event that cost us thousands of dollars to get everybody together in July or August here. Yeah. And we had a meeting, and everybody goes back to their local areas, and we get going. But to say that we're going to crown somebody the king of the Tea Party, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, but I'm not saying crowning the king, but you know as well as I do, there's good candidates out there that should be running and to the forefront, whether it's Ted Cruz, whether it's Marco Rubio. I don't care who you pick, but I'm sick and tired of the staunch old Republican carpet, the rug that's been laying on the floor for years, the Lindsey Grahams, the John McCains. They're not going to win anything, and they're not going to beat any of the liberals. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think that's somewhat true. I also think that it takes the people in our area to go to the voting booths and vote in somebody who is going to vote the same way that we do. And that's how you get Mike Lees and Ted Cruz and Michelle Bachmann and Louis Gohmert and those kind of people that will go back there and band together as a Tea Party group and start making some waves. And you know what? If they weren't making waves, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because the Republicans and the Democrats would brush them away like they were a gnat bugging them, and they wouldn't pay attention. They are afraid because they know, and they have seen pollings through America, that people support people like Ted Cruz and the Tea Party people because of what they stand for. And they are also afraid that they are going to lose their jobs in Washington. Isn't it quite interesting that, yes, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, all of a sudden now John McCain has a new idea. Let's repeal the Obamacare. Yeah. And yet he was the biggest spokesman against Ted Cruz, calling him a wacko bird.
John McCain is nothing more than a willow in the wind and tips whichever way that wind is going to blow. I do not like the man, never have. We've had a caller waiting, Rita. I'm sorry. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, if you want to start locally, why don't you get Wayne Hurst on here and get him, let's work it out locally. His ilk that he's got going with him.
Rita, go ahead. I want you to respond first before I jump in.
Well, let's just say I've already had a run-in with Wayne Hurst, because we had a thing where we were going to do a fundraiser for Mitt Romney last August and raise some money. The Tea Party was putting up all of the money. We got the place reserved. We did everything. And we were going to have a program, and somebody from Romney's campaign, a local person here, was going to be one of the speakers. And they were going to have a couple of other speakers, and Dan Jensen, who's in charge of our Tea Party here, and who had made all of those arrangements, said, well, we think it would be good if we had just a, little message from the Tea Party, because we're the ones organizing it. And all hell broke loose, and Wayne Hurst said, and this is what he said, his people said, we aren't going to have anybody from that dang Tea Party preaching to us, and they wouldn't let us do it.
All right, hold it a second. Let me jump in here.
That's my point.
Caller, just a minute. Don't go away. I just want to throw this in. Here's what I will do. I'd be more than happy, and I think, Rita, you would, or have a representative from the Tea Party. Why don't I get Wayne and a member of the Tea Party, i.e. you, on the same program right here in my studio, and let's lay it out for the public. I think these things should be discussed. Nobody's going to win if there's infighting, and right now, nobody can tell me I'm wrong on this, because I know I'm right. The Democrats and liberals, because of the Obamacare disaster, are at their weakest ebb right now. now. And now's the time to be joining, unifying, and congratulating each other instead of nitpicking. And I'm going to stand behind that statement. Boy, don't let all the dead air somebody speak.
I mean, I agree. But good luck getting, Wayne Hurst and them to come speak about it.
I'll talk to him.
Okay.
And if they turn me down, I'll tell everybody on the air. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed to say it.
Okay.
All right, sir. God bless you for your call. Thank you. Rita, what's wrong with that? Let's sit down in the same room at the same studio on the same airtime, and let's lay out the coins, heads of nickels and tails of dimes. Let's tell everybody what's on the table.
Well, I think that's absolutely right, but it all comes down to one thing as far as I'm concerned, and this is my deal, is if they don't agree with the Tea Party, what we're saying, which is limited federal government and individual freedoms and personal responsibility and fiscal responsibility, then why,
how do you arbitrate against that? Now, I know see, the point is, I'm kind of putting this as a third-person question here. How do you arbitrate in any common sense against common sense spending, about not increasing the budget, about not doing frivolous, stupid things like Obamacare? How do you absolutely sit there as a liberal Democrat would and try to stand up for that platform? There is no defense of it, Rita.
Well, and that's just it. Their platform isn't to do what's best for America. Their platform is to keep in power. They're not concerned about fiscal responsibility.
But all the more,
McConnell did on that deal that went through the other day.
I agree, but all the more reason, and I've had many people talk to me about this off the air. I don't have any allegiance to protecting a certain person or a certain group or a certain party. I couldn't care less. I'm only involved in getting the facts out to the public. One of the facts is that right now, people of a conservative nature, people that believe in the preservation of the Constitution, people that believe that we can't overspend ourselves anymore and increase the debt, people that believe we've got to have honesty in the administration, we should come together as Republicans and Tea Party members, air out the differences, because now is the time, more so than it ever has been, to where liberalism could be on the ropes.
Well, that's exactly right, and unfortunately the big dollars speak more than anything else, and that is what it's all about. You get somebody, the federal government comes to our state and says, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars if you'll implement Common Core, and you should want to do that because you'll be able to get rid of No Child Left Behind. And they automatically see the dollar signs and they go, oh, yay, we need that money in our state. So they take it and marry up with Common Core. And then they find out that Common Core isn't near as bad as No Child Left Behind, only there's a whole lot more strings attached. It all comes down to the dollar, and these people are not doing their homework, and they are not humble enough to say, you know what, I need to learn what all the facts are before we agree to it. Kind of like the Senate and the Congress that voted for Obamacare, and none of them had read or understood what it was about.
I agree. And see, right there, you and I can have these discussions. We can find the points of interest. We can find the points of combined agreement. And that's what has to happen, I think, between the Tea Party and the Republican Party. As I stated moments ago, and I'll stand behind this, the old guard of the McCains and the McConnells and the others saying, well, this is the way we've done it for 75 years. I don't care. I'm interested in what's going to happen for my grandkids. I'm interested as to what's happening right now for people that are out without health insurance, and come January, they might lose everything they've worked and saved for all their lives. I'm interested in taking liberalism to the cliff and pushing it off. And now's an ideal time with a combination of power with the Tea Party and the Republicans.
Well, I think that's right. I still think that locally we have a lot of power, and there was one article I was going to bring up this morning about that local power, and that is, I would like to issue the challenge to anybody to get a hold of your local sheriff's department. You may have to do it through the county clerk or whoever, to find out the record of the dollars that come from the Homeland Security into the sheriff's department, and what kind of absolute chains are hold on to that money that they take in, because there's a lot of stuff going on that's really bad and people don't know about it. And if they start paying attention to it locally, we can stop the bleeding in some of this.
All right, caller, I'm going to say real quick, I'm down to 2 minutes. Go ahead fast.
Okay. I've said for a long time the Tea Party, the Republicans ought to join. Another thing about Chris Christie. He didn't get elected in New Jersey being conservative. He's as liberal as they can be.
I agree. In a blue state, you're not going to tell me that he stood up and waved the flag of complete conservatism, and that's idiotic to think that he did. I agree with you 100%, Fred.
That for sure.
Thank you,
we
sir.
Know that. He's always been liberal.
I appreciate your call.
Always will be.
I appreciate your call.
We don't need him as president. That's for darn sure.
I agree with that. Thanks, Fred. I got to run. Rita, I've really enjoyed this conversation this morning, more so than you'll ever know, because we've got to do something. This sitting here in, I'm going to say like it's a rut, and we're spinning our wheels and we're only getting deeper. And for the staunch old guard of the Republican Party to say negative things about Ted Cruz like Peter King did and many others, they should be embracing the fact that they need to have a power play that could put Democrats and liberals right on their knees, and they're not doing it. We've got to have these meetings. I'm going to try to talk to some of the Republicans in this area, and I'm going to be calling you and others and try to arrange a program meeting on my airtime, one of these programs in the near future. If you'd abide by that and it would be amenable to your schedule, we'll get it done.
Well, we can do that. That would be good.
All right. Hey, calmly I will say, thank you.
You bet. We've got Tea Party meeting tonight at 7 o'clock, and we are supposed to have Senator Cameron and Representative Scott Bedke there to answer questions about the upcoming legislative things that are on the agenda. So everybody who thinks that we need to do something, I expect to see you there.
Rita, real quick, don't forget to circle your calendar for December 19th, because you're going to sit on the wagon with us and sing Christmas carols as we freeze to death driving all over Burley. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yes, I make a joyful noise.
God bless you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Oh, my. I enjoyed that segment. We've got a lot of things to do, and doggone it, I'm going to put the onus on both sides, Tea Party and Republicans. Let's come together. This is the critical time. I'm hungry. I know Gina is. She's sitting over there at the station going, is he going to talk about food? Is he going to talk about goodies? Yes, I am. I'm going to talk about being starved to death. And I know great places to go to cure that problem. How about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley? Oh, listen to this, homemade pumpkin empanadas with whipped cream. I got to get a bunch of those for that December 19th caroling. Great for cold weather. Or how about the tamalito burritos? Tamale-flavored chicken with rice smothered in jalapeno, ranch sauce, and cheese and lettuce. Or the bandito burritos. It's all good. All delicious at the beautiful Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And let's not forget another couple of great places. Burgers, etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 North Overland in Burley. And they've got pumpkin milkshakes. And they've got eggnog shakes. I love eggnog shakes. I really do. Finger steak baskets, only $4.99 after 3 p.m. And bread bowl soup, ooh, different flavor every day. At Burgers, etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 North Overland in Burley. Let's not forget Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. The way you like your food is the way they cook it. Absolutely. And they've got gift certificates for Steve-O's that make great stocking stuffers, too. Oh, yeah. How about this? They've got a jalapeno burger with lots of spicy peppers. And they've got also the pork chops with salad and choice potatoes. And Steve-O's nacho fries topped with cheese and jalapeno peppers. Woo! Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. You stop in and see them today. And last but not least, in our continuing drive to find the best in eating, the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And they've got a 3-piece fish and chips and a small fry for only $7.25. Wow! And of course my favorite, the famous Farmer Brown burgers and the ranch burgers and all the fries and all the shakes. Oh, It's delicious. You're going to love stopping right over there to 601 East Main in Burley, the AC Drive-In. And those are just a few places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. I don't know about you, Gina, but when I was hitting those empanadas and everything, the burgers, I started drooling all over the desk.
That's a painful little segment for me at about this time of the morning.
Oh, I get up at 3:45 and have my wonderful, delectable, delicious bran flakes.
Did you have your grapefruit?
Nah, it tasted like a rubber tire this morning. I threw that puppy out. You know, you get bad grapefruit. You ever had a bad grapefruit?
Yeah, I really have. They're really dry.
Yeah, you stick your spoon down in there, and all of a sudden it feels like you're trying to separate a Goodyear tire. I mean, it's really ugly.
Yeah, it is really ugly. So I feel for you on that one. How are the bran flakes?
They were ugly, too.
Well...
And then I talk about all this good food, and I just get really hungry.
The pumpkin empanada.
Oh, yeah.
With the, my favorite over there at Taco Bandito is their enchiladas.
Stop. You're hurting me.
I know.
I'm hungry.
I'm hurting myself.
We're going to take a little break and come back. What do we got next hour? We got Lee's Furniture, call in. We got Cassia County School Days, Debbie Critchfield. Then you and I are going to fill some time. We'll get a shovel. And then, very interesting guy at 10:30 this morning.
Yes.
Tom DeWeese from back on the East Coast talking about Agenda 21.
Okay.
See you then. Holy cow. Pepper sprayed him. Wow. Be careful. Welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 of them getting you ready for wintertime driving, and it sounds like it might start coming in here tomorrow. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and we're going to be talking to them in just a few moments, and then also our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, listen to this. Listen to this. The Chadwick Sports Grill has an announcement to make at 139 West Main in Burley. They have senior citizen dinner specials Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. for only, how do they do this? Only $5.95. And today, I love this. Today, they're going to have sweet and sour meatballs. Love them. Over steamed rice. Oh, yeah. And super salad. It is delicious. Stop in. Check out the great menu at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. And don't forget daily luncheon specials for just $5.95 at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Well, lo and behold, here he is, Mr. Super Swimmer. Hello, Brent Lee. How are you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More?
Doing well, thank you.
Well, I bet you don't want to put a Speedo on tomorrow.
Oh, it's a little cool outside for that these days.
Well, I know that you've got some hot things happening today, as a matter of fact, at your appreciation sale. Tell us all about it.
That's right. We want to welcome everyone. Our special customer appreciation sale. It's one day only, and it starts today at 4 p.m. through 8 p.m., or as long as we've got customers, we'll be here. And we've got some great values throughout the store. We've made some special purchases, and we have them marked especially for this evening, and we have some wonderful things that will happen only tonight. Let me share a couple of those with you. For example, come on in, and first of all, as soon as you get here, register for some of our wonderful getaways. We're going to hide around the store 10 golden tickets, and we'll draw some names for those to find those golden tickets, and from those, they'll be entered to win a drawing at 7 p.m., and you must be present to win for an Action Lane recliner or 2 tickets to the next Boise State University home game, or a queen mattress set. That's a beautiful plush set. And we also have a special vacation getaway in Boise with an overnight stay at the Shiloh Inn. So come in, first thing register, be here for the drawing, take advantage of the wonderful values throughout the store.
What are you going to do? You're going to line everybody up at one end of the room and just say, go get them!
It's going to be a free-for-all.
Oh, my goodness. I hope you got medics waiting on duty.
It'll be a lot of fun. Let me share with you some of the values we're going to have as well. First of all, we've got a number of sets where you buy the sofa and you're going to get the love seat free. Outstanding values, starting as low as $6.99 for the sofa, get the love seat free. We have in our motion department, we brought in some special chairs. These are great quality, good-looking chairs. You're going to buy one, get one free. Legitimate values. We made this special purchase from Action Lane. And then throughout the store, other wonderful values. Get an accessory, get a second one free. We've got great values on curio cabinets, artwork, lamps, motion furniture, sofa, love seats. We've got it in our floor covering, in our remnants, our roll-ins. Savings literally throughout the store.
I'll tell you what, this sounds like quite a customer appreciation sale. It is this afternoon at 4, going into the evening till 8 p.m. Get in there and get registered, and then all of a sudden line up along with the thousands that'll be there, and when Brent yells, "Go get 'em!" Go find something in your hide-and-seek race.
Go find you a golden ticket.
There you go. And you're going to be you know what? You better be careful where you stand, come to think of it.
I'm going to be standing in the background. I'm not going to get in their way.
So anyway, this is all going to take place today at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You know, it's a great idea. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Tell us how it goes.
I will. I'll give you a full report.
All right.
If Brent, I'm still alive to talk about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, boy, this is one day you don't want to be standing there in your Speedo. So anyway, Brent Lee, God bless you, man, at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. Have a super customer appreciation sale today, 4 to 8 p.m.
We sure will. Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Bye.
That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Holy smokes, I know what else is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to go right now for School Days in Cassia County, and it's brought to you by two sponsors, two wonderful sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley, and also Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. And with us on the phone is the lovely voice of Debbie Critchfield. Hello, Debbie, how are you?
I am well. Good morning.
Well, how come you got roped into it 2 times in a row?
Well, as we get discussing the topic, which has to do with some librarians, they're a little more comfortable in other settings. Apparently, the radio is not their forte.
Well, librarians...
So sorry.
No, don't apologize. You've got a beautiful voice, but librarians always talk in subdued tones, and you can't hear them.
Perhaps it was a good decision that they're going to stay in the libraries and keep the kids quiet.
Have librarians changed since back in the early 60s when I was in high school with Mrs. Larson? And Mrs. Larson basically looked like the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. Have librarians changed, or are they still the people that will come over and smack your knuckles with a ruler?
Are you kidding? Our librarians are so helpful and good to our students that we just really couldn't get through the day without our librarians helping our kids.
Well then...
No, I would say that they've got pleasant smiles and they're ready to help.
Oh, well, things have changed. Now, what's this? I'm understanding that the Burley and Declo high schools are going to be demonstrating how to really enhance research for various topics and projects at home.
Yes, that is going on tonight, and that's what we wanted to take a couple of minutes and talk about. One of the topics that we have discussed on this segment with Cassia School Days has been the increased focus on writing for students, and not just in high school, but really K through 12. And as kids have to delve more into research and support their ideas and their opinions, researching their topics become very critical. And we know that teachers in general are not huge fans of Wikipedia. That's kind of has been the go-to site for a lot of students. Hey, I want to know something, that's where I'm going to go. There is so much more available online for free, not only for students, but all sorts of great learning tools and resources that teachers can use and families can use. And these wonderful librarians that we've been talking about, they've got all this knowledge and expertise, and they want to showcase it to our community so that parents can see what's available.
Okay, I want to talk about the writing part of it just for a few minutes.
Sure.
I think I've made the statement to one of the great guests that you had on this segment a couple of weeks ago, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name. But I honestly believe that with increased and improved technology, that writing skills have gone down the tube. Would you agree with me or not?
Yes and no. Yes, I would say that students and younger kids have gotten a little bit sloppy in how they do those things. But as far as technology supporting research and writing and the tools that are available, there really is no reason other than laziness for a student to submit something or say, well, I didn't know where to look and I didn't know how to write that. You'll remember, and I'm thinking about this for myself, that you get through the whole, you'd get through your research and you'd write your paper, and then almost the worst part of the whole assignment was coming up with the bibliography.
Yeah.
And how do I put that in there and how does it go? Well, there is a great site online where it has different planes and you go, it's called Citation Machine. You enter in the information and it publishes it for you.
Oh, really?
So that you don't have, there's just all these little tools. Now, it doesn't take away from what the student has to do. It's just supporting and supplementing. And again, I think it removes a lot of the excuses on, well, I didn't know where to go and I could only find one resource or I didn't know how to do this. These librarians have access to what is available in the state of Idaho. Another great tool that I don't know a lot of parents know about, our school libraries are all connected. And if there's a book, if I'm at Oakley High School and I need a particular book, you can get online and, Burley High School has that. You can send a request to Burley and they'll ship it out to Oakley.
Ooh, I like this. You got me interested already. One of my hobbies that a lot of people don't know is that writing is one of my favorite things to do. I'm still in the prime, but 85% complete on my book that I'm going to have published. I love to write, whether it's a short story, whether it's poetry from my book or whatever, and I can't wait to finish it. And research tools of what maybe somebody else had written or somebody else had said at a certain meeting place or whatever. Sounds like you've got it all covered, so there's no excuse for today's students not to find out what's going on around them.
No, and the reason for the parent involvement is let's take a little pressure off of the librarian or the teachers. The kids can do these things at home, and as a parent, if I know how to direct my child, another database that will be displayed tonight, you can about find any test. If your child decided they wanted to be, an air traffic controller, you can go online and you can actually see the sample test. And so for our juniors and seniors, for some of these career choices that they're making, they could get an idea of, this is what I'd have to know and be competent at in order to enter that field.
Oh, man.
As you've mentioned, reading books, there's a great website called Goodreads. You type that in, you can create a list. It'll recommend things based on books that you put in there that you like, that are similar genres. Honestly, when I saw the presentation, it was one of these things that I thought, I haven't seen something this amazing in about 10 years of education.
Let me ask you, Debbie, do you feel that this would be geared more towards the parents to instill the want to do in their kids, or how do you think this is going to work?
Well, I guess, I think it's a resource as a parent. For example, after I saw this presentation myself, a couple days later, my daughter, who's a sophomore, had to do a research paper on the history of a sewing machine. And, she sat at the computer, and I watched her type in Wikipedia, and I said, hey, wait a minute, I happen to know a couple of things here. And I typed on, we remember World Book, Encyclopedia World Book. Nobody has those really. No one's purchasing paper copies of those anymore. They have an entire website that is free, World Book Online. And so I kind of started to type in some stuff and show her some different things. And, she looked at me and said, how do you know this?
You mean to tell me that you actually had a teenager that listened to you?
And I do have pretty good kids. But, yeah, she looked at me literally and just said, how do you know this? And I said, I happen to know one or two things. And so, anyway, as I showed her, and we've set up some other things in some of our outlying communities, but tonight at 6:30 at Burley Junior High, we're just inviting any parent and student, bring your child with you, or teachers. There's so many learning resources that are available for parents and families, and it's not just something that I think will benefit the school kid, but as families, I think these are great things to know. And again, they're all free.
Absolutely. I bet you, though, honestly, be very honest. When you got up and walked away from your daughter and she watched you walk down the hall, I'll bet you had a certain swagger to you that said, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, I've got score one for the parents.
There you go. I love that attitude. All right, well, that's tonight, you said, at 6:30.
6:30, Burley Junior High. It's about an hour. We're not going to suck a bunch of time out of people's lives, but really it is worth an hour of your time. I wish I would have known this for some of my kids that have graduated years ago. It really would have been a helpful thing.
You know, I want to thank Debbie on the air publicly because she's really put her heart and soul into making sure that this segment every week is very, very learning profitable. And School Days in Cache County wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. Thank you so much for all your involvement.
And for you, and I thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless. We'll talk to you or someone next week.
You will. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. School Days in Cache County brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, boy, you can shop online at childsworldinburley.com. Check out all the Cherokee and Dickie scrubs and all the shoes and all the accessories and all the quality games, toys, books, arts, crafts, puzzles, everything. And always remember, free gift wrapping and layaway. They've got it all for you. A great family store. A Child's World, 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley, 878-8222. And also, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. I'll tell you what, 677-8888. That's the number to remember, 677-8888. And for over 14 years, the Ambulatory Surgery Center of Burley has saved area families thousands of dollars as they've received outstanding medical care. Bit my tongue. I have to go to Ambulatory Surgery Center and have it fixed. This first-class medical facility is located at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. A Child's World and Ambulatory Surgery Center, the sponsors of School Days in Cache County. I got something that... Gina, are you right there by your microphone? Hello, Gina. Space to Earth. Space to Earth. Are you there?
Earth not responding. Earth not responding.
I just learned something.
Really?
Yes, I just learned something that you... What do you think you should never do before bedtime if you want to get a good night's sleep?
Eat.
No.
Drink.
No.
Glass of water.
No. That's
exercise?
Okay.
Don't go there.
No.
I have no idea then. No. Read a book?
Never use your cell phone.
What?
I am serious. A study at the University of Zurich found that exposing people to the electromagnetic fields from cell phones altered their brainwaves during sleep, resulting in sleep disturbances.
What? They actually did a study on this?
Yeah, they did.
It's called, you know what, okay, so my cell phone is my alarm clock, so it's always right beside me. However, I have my ringer off, so I won't get any notifications for, like, if somebody actually calls me or I get a text or whatever, but it works with the alarm. So,
I see.
They actually wasted money on that study?
Yeah, they put a lot of bucks into this thing at this University of Zurich, and they studied this. They said that by exposing people's brains, which a lot of people are saying out in the audience, well, Zeb, you don't have to worry about that. But anyway, exposing people's brains to the electromagnetic field from cell phones, if you're trying to go to sleep, don't do it. They said use a regular phone on a regular line because cell phones will all of a sudden wake you up.
That's why you have to turn the ringer off.
No, I don't mean the cell phone's going to wake you up. I mean the electronic brain waves are going to be like this, and they're going to wake you up. Your own body's going to wake you up.
Huh. I don't buy it, but okay.
Okay, I just thought that you really kind of killed my segment to waste some time here this morning. I was on a roll until you kind of just trashed it, stomped on it with your right heel, and kicked it to the curb, babe.
Hey, and I've got some nice heels on, too, so it works perfect.
Hey, Jim Risch was on television yesterday afternoon.
He was?
Yeah, he was on Fox Live with, what's her name? The former Miss America. I can't think of her name to save my life. Gretchen Carlson.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on The Real Story with Gretchen Carlson.
And how did he do?
He did very well, but you know what? She mispronounced his name. She did. She said, and with me right now is Idaho Senator James Reich. He didn't like that.
No.
And he corrected her. Very few people have the gumption, and I respect people that do that. If I mispronounce somebody's name, I want them to tell me the correct pronunciation, so I don't do it wrong the second time.
Well, it's like we've all pronounced Crapo's name wrong a couple of times, and I did it actually on television.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
I did, and yes, everybody called in and said...
You didn't say Crapo, did you?
Yes.
You did?
I did.
Oh, my goodness, lady, you should be so embarrassed.
I'm not.
Oh.
But it was actually kind of funny. We've got Al on the phone for you.
Hello, Mr. Bootlair.
I'm going to be nice, so watch it.
Okay.
Hey, yesterday something come across the screen that I just almost blew a cork because our illustrious Secretary of State, Mr. Kerry, is telling the Congress, keep your nose out of the Syrian deal or we're going to blow it.
Yeah.
Mr. Kerry, we've been blowing it for the last 20 years, and you're over there ain't going to help a bit.
Let me ask you this, though, Al, in all seriousness. Doesn't that just impose the thought on your mind, it does on my mind, that this clandestine, very secretive administration doesn't want Congress to know anything so they can skirt them on every occasion?
That's right. And I'm telling you, I'm getting sick and tired of the way our people that have let that guy get in there, along with Hagel. I mean, to me, that's the two biggest mistakes that this administration's made as national security goes. But to have him tell the Congress, keep your nose out of it, and when he's sitting there wanting to sign the treaty with the gun deals and stuff like that, I think they better bring him home and put him in a cage.
I couldn't agree with you more. I heard that statement, and I was very much offended by it. The delegation of power and of information seems to want to stop right there at John Kerry's arm, and to say what he said about skirting Congress and stay out of it, you might mess it up. The American public needs to find out more information, because according to all the reports I've heard, Al, and from people I've talked to at various think tanks on the East Coast, most people are scared to death as to the concessions this administration and John Kerry are going to offer Iran and hurt our main ally, Israel.
That's right. And I'll tell you what, we got to watch it, because if we pull the troops out over there in Iraq, we're not guaranteed that they'll be protected by the Iraqi government. So I say if they're going to pull that crap, bring them home, protect ourselves, and tell them to go to hell.
Oh, it's so blunt, but so nice and refreshing. Thank you, Al.
I was raised.
I respect it. Thank you, sir. God bless.
Have a good one.
You bet I will. Thank you. Don't forget the Rupert Bookstore and Office Supply. Yes, today. Oh, wait a minute. What's today? No. Saturday, Zeb. Look at your calendar. They're going to have the big holiday fair on the square this Saturday, November 16th. And then, put this on your calendar, the Rupert Bookstore's annual pre-Christmas open house will be on Friday, November 22nd. Oh, my gosh. They're going to have great discounts on everything in the store. You better not forget that. All kinds of fun going on as we get ready and closer to the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. The Rupert Bookstore and Office Supply, 515 5th Street in Rupert, right on the south side of the square. Really nice people. Yeah, it was kind of funny yesterday when Gretchen Carlson introduced our senator as Senator Jim Reich, and he wrinkled his eyes and kind of rolled them up to the ceiling, and then he said, no, it's Risch. And even O'Reilly, a couple of weeks ago, made the same mistake and said Reich.
You know, as a newscaster, it always helps if you have the pronunciation of the name before, because if you're just going off of what's printed, 9 times... And I've so done this. 9 times out of 10, you're going to say it wrong.
Oh, yeah, but you know...
It's like Katie Couric saying Coeur d'Alene instead of Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, absolutely. I heard her say that. I
did, too.
Yeah.
On national television, and I actually emailed her and said, weren't you smart enough to have one of your lackeys at least check the pronunciations before you went on the air?
But you know, it almost seems, and I'm speculating here, this is not the truth because I don't know it to be this way, but if it were California, or if it were New York, or if it were Chicago, of major population centers, they wouldn't make a mistake. But little old Idaho, they just don't care, do they?
Isn't Idaho next to Iowa?
Yeah, I thought maybe it's back in the Midwest someplace, ain't it?
I don't know how many times, chatting with people, elsewhere, and they honestly do not know where Idaho is on the map.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they equate it next to Ohio and Iowa.
How many times have you got on the phone with directory assistants asking for a number, and they said, now, this is Twin Falls, Iowa, you said? No, I said Twin Falls, Idaho, you knotheads. Yeah, there you go. I'll be back in 3 minutes. We're going to give it back to Gina. I'll see you in 3. We got a great guest coming up next hour. His name, Tom DeWeese, talking about Agenda 21.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. We're on the stretch right now, and Secretariat's in the lead as we go into the last 30 minutes of our program this morning, and I'm very honored to have a very, very good guest on the phone talking about Agenda 21, Tom DeWeese. And we're going to have him start on the air with us in just a moment, but so that we don't have to interrupt him, we're going to have a weather update real quick with MichaelRogersWeather.com, and it's brought to us this hour by our friends at Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, heat pumps, all of this and more through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's not a bad day. You're going to get set up for a snowstorm that's going to take place tomorrow. And from what I'm gathering, very little accumulation. You're going to top out the high tomorrow, 41. High today, right around 50, right in the low 50s as we get ready. And then it's going to, when the snow passes through the weekend, you'll come back out of it and we'll start right back up where we started with basically southern clouds. But otherwise, not a bad day today. 50 for the high, snow in the forecast, 41 for the high tomorrow. Be safe, enjoy the weather is the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Have a great week. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you again about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric with the Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Ramsey's, of course, located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Go to the phone lines right now, and I've really been looking forward to this conversation, if you will, with Tom DeWeese, the author of Now Tell Me I Was Wrong. Good morning, Mr. DeWeese. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Zeb. It's good to be with you. Great. I'm doing great.
Well, Tom, give us a little background. If it wouldn't have been for a mutual friend of ours, Doug Johnson, I probably wouldn't have had you on this program, unfortunately, but fortunately he gave me your name and number. Give us a little background about you and your stand against what's happening all across this great country with Agenda 21.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been an activist in the fight for limited government, free enterprise, individual liberty for about 40-some years. And particularly over the last 20 or so, we've been fighting the issue of the assault on property rights across the country. And it started out with certain environmental regulations, and then back in 1992, it all came to the forefront through the UN's Earth Summit down in Rio de Janeiro, and became the title of it, or the focus of it, became a document called Agenda 21. And since that time, we've been trying to sound the alarm of why this is a danger, and it's spreading across the country. But now people are beginning to see that, and we've been able to get the message out, and people begun to take note of what we're saying about it.
Yeah, Tom, I'm going to interrupt you right there, and I'm just going to throw this at you and see what you have to say. I've been preaching this about Agenda 21 for over 15 years on this program, and trying to make people more aware and alert as to what's going on. Why, in your opinion, has the American public been so slow to respond and realize there really is an Agenda 21, and it really is now progressing at a very rapid rate?
I think in a way it's kind of the old proverbial frog in the boiling water. It comes up slowly and they don't realize it. They don't see what's happening. In every community, it's being sold as local development plans that they're just trying to stop uncontrolled development. They use the term urban sprawl all the time. And they've just told people, well, we're just all local people doing this. We're just trying to make sure our community has proper growth and stop all these strip malls popping up everywhere. And, they paint these horrible pictures of our society. and then they offer the solution. And the problem is that what people aren't seeing is, first of all, this does have connections on an international level, but in a way that's not even the major problem. The major problem is people are in high places are making decisions for individuals, making these decisions for them of how they're going to live. And what I find the most disturbing about the whole thing is that they're not being honest about it. They're hiding what they're doing and not admitting where these things are coming from or who's behind it or what the effect is going to be. And people are busy living their lives and they don't realize it.
Yeah, but Tom, I think we need to be a little bit more specific right here to the general public that still says, well, what in the heck is Agenda 21? I think people probably are not aware of what the ultimate goal is by these people you proclaim to be the hierarchy.
Yeah, Agenda 21 really is about changing our society, the way we live, our very form of government. The United States is really the only nation on earth that was created to protect rights that we're born with, to protect individual rights, protect our property rights away from government infringement. And what's happening is non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that helped write Agenda 21 at the international level have filtered into our federal government, our state governments, and our local governments to impose a completely different, a completely radical vision of government. And that's the real danger. They're changing our government away from representative government to non-elected boards, councils, regional governments that are not affected by what the people want. They have their agenda and they're going to put it in place. And this is where the danger is, because they're putting plans in place that are affecting people's property, affecting their jobs, affecting their community, locking away land, grabbing land, controlling what you can do on your land, and you don't have a means to respond to that, to do something about it. And I think that's what people are now beginning to realize. There are regulations that are affecting them. They don't know where they came from, and they don't know what to do about it.
You know, there's so many topics that are connected to and a part of Agenda 21, and I'll just mention a couple of them and let you expound on it a little bit, like the destruction of private property rights, green energy, the idiocy of becoming power subservient to other countries, population control, global warming, the reintroduction of many of the predators like the wolves here in the Northwest. All of these things are part of Agenda 21 to diminish our value and increase their power. Would you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with it. And the global warming issue, climate change now, is the center to all this. And, it used to be, if people were telling us that, the glories of socialism, the glories of Karl Marx, and we weren't buying that. But you wrap it all in a green blanket. You say the earth is being destroyed, and it doesn't matter what you think your rights ought to be or how you think life ought to be. You have got to pull back. You've got to do with less. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a planet to live on. And, of course, global warming became the center of that whole thing. It has now been so completely discredited, and even the UN is backing away from it. Other countries are backing away from all the climate change regulations. The United States is the only one that's still moving forward with this, and we're going to learn, I think. We're going to find out. This is why our energy costs are skyrocketing. The very foundation of our society is being changed by this. People no longer are accepting it. And I think that's a big move to it. But yeah, all those things are connected to it, and they're all little individual reasons why these NGOs use these excuses to get you to give up a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. But overall, Agenda 21 is an agenda for the 21st century. That's what they're pushing.
I totally agree with you, Tom. And just as a kind of a fact to solidify what you just said, I believe it was yesterday, and I don't have it right here on my desk, but I think it was in yesterday's USA Today on about page 5 or 6. There was a big headline on the page that said, global warming is an absolute fact. And so what you're saying about the United States, and they went on to list all the scientists and everything, I have had numerous scientists from all over the United States dispute global warming. Why are they not given the credence and the credentials that the or the pro-global warming sources do in the media?
Well, I think we can both agree that the mainstream media in this country is completely in the back pocket of those who are moving in these directions.
I agree.
mean, I have been myself personally assaulted by them, attacked on the front page of the New York Times and other places. Conspiracy theories we're putting forth. All we ever do is quote what they say, and then somehow we're putting out a conspiracy theory. I think just the very fact that, as you mentioned, that you had scientists on your program that dispute this show there is no consensus. At least take it to that level. There is no overwhelming consensus in scientific communities that global warming exists. There is a debate. There is an argument going on there, and the so-called skeptics, the people who are really questioning whether it's real or not, are growing by leaps and bounds. I see reports every day of more scientists who come on board to dispute the findings of global warming. There hasn't been any warming at all in 16 years, and so that these things are in dispute. And for them to say, without a doubt, it is a fact, for us to try to put information into public classrooms, to schools, to say, here's a debate, here's the other side, and to have that absolutely ripped out and not allowed. I just got a report on that yesterday. And so, they have shut down. If scientists work basically on through grants that come from government, come from other agencies, and if they come out and say they're not for this, that they see discrepancies, that they don't believe in the global warming hypothesis, they lose those grants. They lose access to publications. So this is where the argument is killed at that level because they're afraid to speak out.
Tom, one of the most insidious, one of the most clandestine groups that I think is available to us to witness right here in this United States is the EPA. I fear the EPA. Do you have the same feelings?
The EPA has become the Nazis of the federal government. They are the front lines to where this government wants to go. They are shutting down coal-producing energy plant or coal-using energy plants. They are using their power to shut down one industry after another. And this is a major point I want to make about Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is about redistribution of wealth. If you look at, it's not a land use program, it's not an environmental program. Those are the excuses. It is about redistribution of wealth. One of the major points of Agenda 21 is social equity or social justice. And what that really means is redistribution of wealth. And how is that done on a national level? You take the EPA shutting down American industry and making it impossible for those industries to operate in this country. What happens? They end up going to other countries, non-developed countries, and so third world countries, and they strike up their factories there. Well, if it's about protection of the environment, then whether it's polluting in China or polluting in Pittsburgh, it's the same pollution. So what's been achieved here? The fact of the matter is it's not about the pollution, it's about redistribution of wealth. If you have the factories go to those countries, you've redistributed American wealth, American industry to another country, and that's the process and how it's done.
Let me ask you this, though. I'd put another word in there with redistribution. I would also put the word in there relocation. And the reason I say relocation is I think rural America needs to be very afraid today about a relocation, and they're going to have to move to make room for all the amenities that global warming alarmists and the predator people want to put in. I think that rural America is in really dire straits as far as property rights and are going to be forced to leave their property and look for home and sanctions within the confines of a big city.
You're absolutely correct. Again, Agenda 21 comes at us in two specific ways. One is you hear the term smart growth in the cities. That's where you put a line around the city. You say no more growth outside of this. The point is to stack and pack inside the cities. They say that is preserving resources and stopping urban sprawl. Well, outside of that line are the rural areas. And we used to talk about the Biodiversity Treaty, and before that was the Wildlands Project. The Biodiversity Treaty, which also came out of the Earth Summit in 1992, basically encompassed the Wildlands Project, which was put together by Dave Foreman of Earth First, one of the most radical environmental groups there are. And what it calls for is rewilding 50% of all the land in every state back to the way it was before Christopher Columbus. That's their terms, that's their statement. Well, how do you do that? How do you herd people off the rural lands and into the cities? You make it impossible for them to live there. You mentioned the wolf reintroduction, the bear reintroduction, making it dangerous to live in rural areas. The governor of Maryland is working on a plan right now that would ban septic tanks in rural areas, supposedly to protect the Chesapeake Bay. Well, what it means is without septic tanks, you can't live in the rural areas. Conservation easements are a major tool being used. They're telling farmers, this is going to help you keep your farm, it's going to help you protect, it's going to cut back on taxes, it's going to cut back on your expenses, you can keep the farm. Fact of the matter is, the minute a farmer signs a conservation easement, he just signed away the farm.
Absolutely.
Because that farm now is controlled by whoever controls that conservation easement, and that can be any number of NGO groups that trade them like commodities.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question. Caller, I'm almost out of time, so I'm going to ask you to keep your question very short. Go ahead, please.
Let me proceed by just saying I agree with you on the global warming thing. However, last night on NBC News, they had another report about the polar bears losing their habitat up in Canada, claiming that the ice is receding more than it ever has been in the past. What do you say to those people about that? I'll listen to my answer off the air.
That's a good question, and another ripoff, and they're trying to impose that thought also on our kids in the schools, elementary, junior high, etc. Go ahead, Tom, and answer that about the polar bears and their habitat.
This is one of the great scare tactics that they're using.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is the ice is getting thicker. Up in the Arctic area, there are 11 different polar bear populations, and all but like one of them is growing right now. They've got more polar bears than they've ever had, and the habitats, or the herds of them are growing. So it is an absolute lie, and I think I can say that without any hesitation, that they're using that scare tactic and telling us, they have these visions on television of polar bears swimming, nowhere to go, and it's a lie, and that really is the bottom line to it.
Tom, I want to inject something here, and I think you'll agree with me. Because of this administration currently, we have so many problems and so many scandals, be it Benghazi, be it the IRS scandal, be it now Obamacare, and the American public has been saturated with things to worry about. How do we get people cognizant and be aware of Agenda 21 when they've got all these other messes to contend with?
Well, I think people are most apt to respond to something when it affects them directly. And the one thing about Agenda 21 is it's coming into the communities, is it's affecting people in their property, it's affecting them in their jobs, so many other aspects of their life. And I think that is that's why it's starting to really catch on. People are starting to get this. It's kind of funny to watch. The proponents of this cannot figure out how we have made this a national movement, and we've had so much effect over the last couple of years. They are convinced that we are getting secret money from Exxon and the Koch brothers and so forth. None of that is true. It is a true grassroots movement because people are being affected by it, and they're beginning to respond to it. We've had over 150 cities stand up and say no to organizations like ICLEI, the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, which has had over 650 cities in this country that have been members. Their whole purpose is to bring Agenda 21 to that community. The American Planning Association is in a panic over how we are stopping some of their plans, and they're doing everything they can to discredit us. And one of the ways they do that is to say we're being funded by Exxon. And, it's just an absolute lie again. And I think any movement that tries to hide who they are, what their plans are, and change their wording, change their titles, is something you got to take a look at and question.
Well, I want to compliment you, Tom, on your article that you had written for a magazine that I have a lot of respect for. It's called Range, R-A-N-G-E. Tell us real quickly about the story, The Urge to Rule. Give us a little background on that story.
Well, first of all, it's talking about conservation easements and why these are so dangerous, and how these NGO organizations will trade back and forth these like commodities. But I used in there particularly an example of Martha Bonetta, who's right here in my county, in Fauquier County, Virginia, where I live. And Martha is a small farmer. And she ought to be the poster child for everything they say they're for, organic farmer. But what she did was she had, where the whole trouble started, was she had a birthday party for 10-year-old girls. These were friends. This was not somebody who rented her property or anything. These were friends on her property in her little farm store. And the county came after her for that, saying, you have to have a permit for that. And she says, no, I don't. This is my property. It's like you having a party at your home and having to get a permit for it. And they have come after her. There's an organization called the Piedmont Environmental Council that holds a conservation easement over her. And they have harassed her. She's ended up with a IRS audit. Just so happens that somebody who used to work for the Clinton administration with the IRS is on the Piedmont Environmental Council's board. And she says the IRS audit is just a coincidence. But this is the kind of tactics they're using across the country to use all kinds of government rules, regulations, intimidation tactics to turn back anybody who stands up and defies them. And that's what they're doing to Martha Bonetta. She's been faced with $5,000 a day fines for not getting the proper permit and so forth. So this is what people are affected by, and most people don't have the means to fight back.
Tom, I got to ask you one quick favor. You got to make a promise now that you've been on the program once. You got to promise to come back a second time. I've got 1,000 other questions to ask you. You're a great guest, and I'm going to call you in the near future. Please say you'll come back on the show.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, Tom DeWeese, excellent author, the author of Now Tell Me I Was Wrong, and we're going to have him back talking about Agenda 21. Thanks, Tom. God bless. Thank you much.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, you got to be aware. You've got to be totally aware as to what's going on, because Agenda 21 is real, it's alive, and it's not going to make any of us well. Believe me. Our main sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And I want to say thank you to all 7 locations for treating you with the utmost of service and respect. You heard earlier we had my dear friend Carl Clark call in and say how great they are to work with. Well, that's the truth. I mean, all 7 locations, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Right now, they're telling you, hey, you better get ready for safe wintertime driving. They've got all the traction tires, all the studded tires. They've got the very, very best in brake service, the best in snow wheels, batteries, and, of course, shocks and struts, front end alignments. They want you to be safe. Stop in and see them today. All of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers serving you. Wow, that's going to wrap it up and put it back in the box for me this week, and we have got a home run next week. We are working with, hopefully we can get this pulled off by Monday. I hope we can. Gina, I need you to get on the radio for just a second. I want to ask you, you're quite a sports fan, aren't you?
I try to be.
You remember Stockton to Malone, remember that?
No.
With the Utah Jazz?
Oh, okay, yes.
John Stockton to Karl Malone? I'm working on getting John Stockton on our program, hopefully next Monday, to talk about his new book.
I actually love John Stockton, and if I do recall, he played for
the Utah Jazz and then also Gonzaga.
Yes, he did.
And his son plays for Gonzaga.
Yes, he does, as a matter of fact.
Yep. And he's got a brand new book out, and John is not only a great NBA player, but also a good author, and we're going to have him on the air, hopefully Monday, if I can get that deal all put together, along with many other top guests. What are you going to do this weekend? Work on the car? Are you going to try to get your snow shovel all ready to go, or what are you going to
do? We've got to work on my car again, and basically it involves dropping the engine.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No, just to replace a $21 part.
You've got to drop the engine to replace a $21 part?
Yep.
Oh, that's efficiency.
Yeah, totally. It's by the book. It's about a 6-hour job, and so thankfully James has all of the stuff. So it's going to take us probably about 8 hours to do it, just to replace a $21 part inside the transmission.
Holy cow! Well, listen, practice your singing this weekend. I want you and James and Kennedy to be out there underneath that car, replacing that $21 part, singing Jingle Bells and Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
It'll probably put us in a better mood instead of screaming the obscenities that are going to happen.
You're honest anyway. All right, everybody. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend, a safe weekend, the way things were, the way things ought to be. Zeb at the Ranch. We'll see you next Monday at 8:06. Take care.